Then bandiphathela umqombothi and I'm allergic to it.
Oh, really?
Azange ndawusela umqombothi.
That looks disrespectful.
Hayi ndawusela, I'm allergic to it. Ndawusela umqombothi. Then went back and I took antihistamines.
Yes, do you remember your character names? All of them?
Yeah.
Sevendila?
Zandile.
Ashes to Ashes?
Mandlakazi.
Yizo.
Grace Lizards.
Jeez, you remembered. Such a long time ago.
I know, right?
I didn't think you'll remember that.
It's different. It's all these people that are living inside of me.
And they're still there in some form.
And I have to put myself in the classroom. Grace Lizards. Okay.
Yes.
When you said the lab, I would put myself on set. Okay, there it is. There she is. I struggle with the ability to shut my mouth.
Yeah.
I won't lie to you. No, really. I won't lie to you. I will not lie to you. I'd rather not say anything to you. And that's a rule in my household. If you ain't got nothing good to say nothing.
It's easier.
Because you remember when I started to work with him on Generations, he literally came out of hospital. And the IV, the drip that you saw him, that was in his arm.
What?
Yeah.
That was real.
That was real. And he was doing dialysis in the dressing room when we're running lines.
King David Studio Podcast.
Our goal with this is to celebrate you.
Okay.
And while we do that, we realize that we get a lot from teaching. Youngsters, they learn a lot from a life well lived, with life experiences. There's a lot of lessons. They always come with unplanned, but I always say, when we do this, there's a lot of opportunity to say, let me tell you when this happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, and young people get to learn quite a lot.
Okay, cool.
Yes. How are you, man?
We started already. How am I? I'm good.
You're good.
I'm good. I am, I started this year, my niece kept saying, yo, Ma, you like this. Every time I look up and you're moving like this. And I didn't realize that's the message I was sending across.
Yeah.
And I always worry about her because she pushes herself so hard. So now if she sees me pushing hard, that means she's going to want to push harder. And I'm thinking, no, I didn't mean to send that message to you.
Ooh.
But I've been pushing. I made the decision this year, the last 2 years. I spent grieving because I had a lot of losses. And so I woke up at the beginning of this year and I said, okay, it's time to get up. We've had the pity party, and those who left me their souls haven't, their bodies have, their presence has left me, their physical presence has left me. But I can actually just invite them in. And so let's invite them in. Let's invite so-and-so's drive for this and so-and-so's that part of their spirit and push and, to accomplish the goals. Because it's a transcendence, really.
That's true.
Their passing is a transcendence. And so that's what I did. I wanted to just use their transcendence to propel me to where I needed to go. And so I've been pushing.
What led to the change of thought? Surely it can't be the new year.
It's a very good question. I don't think it was the new year as much as it was the ending of a time. So my dad passed away December 23rd, 2020. And while, it was so sudden and it angered the family in the way that it happened. It was during the COVID hysteria, and a lot of people did not know how to deal with COVID symptoms. So they sedated a lot of people. And that's how we lost my dad.
You're saying at the hospital.
Hospitals.
Yeah.
They sedated a lot of people, and that's how we lost my dad. And so we still don't have a proper cause of death. So it lingered, his death lingered, and it angered. So on the 23rd, my dad passed away and I was here in Joburg. That same Wednesday, I drove down to Mthatha. And of course, you remember back at that time, we needed to bury people within 3 days.
Quickly,
yes. So him being a member of parliament, it meant that there was a lot of protocol that was involved. So we're working with all of that. And so all hands on deck, and I'm running communications, because that's what I do,
everything.
communications, and we all, running around. And my cousin brother, who's incredibly close to me, is lying in hospital in Durban.
Same problem.
Same thing.
Oh.
He's come out of the coma. He's back in. So I'm talking to his wife. Literally the day that I was driving to Mthatha, I was talking to his wife, Upinti. And so she's like, oh, Sisi, I'm sorry this happened. I'm like, you know what? Let's not focus on the death. Let's just keep praying for Upopo to get up from there, because it'll just be too much.
Yeah.
And so we're working towards, getting my dad sorted out. And our family is incredibly close. So his younger brother, their fathers were brothers, so then they grew up as brothers.
Okay.
His wife then got sick.
Yeah.
And so as we're preparing for the funeral, it's the 23rd.
Oh, no.
So we're getting this news, right, on the phone, and we're driving down to Mthatha.
What a time.
Yes. And we're driving down to Mthatha, and we get to Mthatha the next day, and Umama is looking thin, and she's a plump woman and a beautiful round woman, and she's thin. My heart just fell, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I felt like I should have been physically there to stop everything. So there's that guilt as well. And so now it's the 24th. We're preparing for this. So we've decided that the funeral is going to be on the 26th, I think. And so it's the 24th. Now we're getting everything ready. We're getting the tents, and we're talking. Everybody's talking to each other. Oh, Aunt Nozuko Aunt Noxola is in hospital.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, no, it's fine. Upram Cindy is still there. So we're talking about, who's going to speak at the funeral.
All of that.
And
A
okay,
program.
fine. A program.
Yes.
So, okay, who are the elders in the family? Okay, Upram Cindy is going to be there. Okay, fine. Haibo, Aunt Noxola is not doing well. Hey, Upram Cindy is not going to be available for this. Okay, fine. So who's the eldest now in my generation? Okay, Kwezi, be on standby, bro.
You're not raising your hand.
No, I'm not the eldest.
Okay.
Fortunately, I'm the eldest here, but I'm not the eldest all around, because our family is about the hierarchy of the generations.
Of course.
So I'm a close-up.
No. It happens like that a lot.
Okay.
Even when they go astray, in terms of their lives is not organized, they still keep their hierarchy.
The hierarchy,
Yeah.
and you'd better make sense, because otherwise the sisters will deal with you.
That's it.
So come the 25th, we're all waking up and getting ready, because now the funeral is tomorrow.
Sure.
We're getting ready, and I think it was about 12:30, 1 o'clock. I'm tired. So I went back to the guest house, and the guest house is like next door to my family home, which is farther from Nambitha.
Yeah.
So I'm there, and I get a phone call. Sisi? Yeah. No, dear man. I'm still, no, Sisi? What? Umphathisi weyisakhe. No, I don't like that word.
Yo.
Because when they told me about my dad, but Sisi, I'm fast asleep. But weyisakhe. Tuthi weyiswe yintoni? No, weyisakhe, and that's how it's ngamaXhosa we say it, that the person has
passed on.
So xa usithi umphathisi weyisakhe, they're like, no, I don't like that word. What's going on? Umphathisi didn't make it. That's my son's dad. What are you saying? He's just lost his grandfather, and now he's so, and like, okay, so like just telling you about it is just enormous for me. So I collapsed.
Yeah.
Put the shutters down and laid down and just said, no, that's it. I got to stop.
Sure.
And as I get out, so now I need to call the boys, his sons, because we do that for each other. So I organize a video call, and they're having a Christmas day at their aunt's in Joburg and December. So I can't be there to have this conversation with them. Like, can we get the boys upstairs? Okay, I need to do a video chat with the boys. Gentlemen, hi, how you doing? Yeah, Dubs, how you doing? Merry Christmas. I'm like,
what is their age? How old?
At this time, Ulele is like 17, 18.
Okay.
Utando is 30. They're not young.
Young
but these are
boys,
my
yeah.
babies.
Of course. They'll always be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Dubs, how's it going? Merry Christmas. Yeah, baby. Where are you? Where's Auntie Goni? And want to make sure that they're with their aunt. Like, okay. So your dad didn't make it. Where was he going? Because nobody's thinking death.
Oh, no. They're thinking he didn't make it to where he was heading.
Is he out of the house? What's going on? Where was he going? No, he's gone. So after I break the news to the boys, then now I'm like weeping and then my phone rings. Sisi? I'm like, no. Who?
Oh. Don't do CC again.
Don't do CC. Don't CC me right now.
Oh, no.
I'm like just managing, just like managing. I can have some water. It's just CC. I'm like, no. And my aunt had on the same day.
Jojo.
So 3 people within 2 days.
Yeah, essentially.
And the funeral is tomorrow. I'm like, okay. So there was a lot of that. And then I came back to Joburg and TJ, I don't know if, do you remember TJ Chirodi?
Yes, I do.
He and I were incredibly close. Hey?
You had a lot of loss.
Yeah, so TJ passed on and I was still in the 14 days after COVID. So I couldn't go anywhere. So I managed his funeral from my bedroom. What? And his kids, and I was on the phone with them. Because, he and I were so close because I led the transformation at the SABC. I don't know if you remember this.
I do.
So he and I were very close. Yeah. And he would come in from Venda and he'd bring me the most humongous avocados and bananas. And I was so pregnant and I got so fat from him. From his food.
You blame it on the pregnancy. That's what happens with Jeez. Wow.
So I lost TJ within a week after I buried my dad.
I think there's something that's not spoken about. COVID death was just horrible. And I think there's something about us, and I know I'm using me as an example, that we moved on a little quicker than
No,
Noah.
we didn't.
You think so?
I think we physically moved on. And then this is what I'm getting to in answering your question. Like a very long answer to your question. Then Menzi passed on. Then Menzi passed on shortly after that. And there were a few others because before my dad, there were the uncles. Yeah. Do you remember there was a family in the Eastern Cape that lost like 4 family members within a week?
Yeah.
That's my family.
Because
that was my family.
Sure.
So there was that, but the closer ones happened at that Christmas time.
And then there was uncles there and so and so.
Right. So all of this was happening. So by the time TJ passed on, I was at number 10 and he was number 11. And then when Menzi, I said, okay, I'm not going to count anymore, but I'm not attending any more funerals either.
Yeah.
So I will facilitate from my bedroom what I can. And then I'm going to shut the door and not be any physical part. So all the memorial services, all of that. I did not attend any of that. I said, no, because my wounds are too open.
Yeah,
I'm gonna bleed all over the other
and
people.
You're still pouring salt on these wounds.
And now I'm gonna tutuzalanjani when I'm bleeding. How do I bandage you when I'm bleeding?
That's true.
Do you understand? So and we can't co-bleed.
No,
So I shut myself off. And a year went by, and then Patrick left us.
A year went by. Yes, Patrick Shai left.
And he and I were incredibly close as well. So I was like, when Patrick left, and I kept saying, "What? I can't do any more shows. Who's going to be my husband?"
I can't believe that. That's your perspective of it at that moment.
like seriously, no. If you think of Nambitha Mpumlwana being a lead, and then you thinking of a male counterpart, who can you think of now?
I want to throw names. Just watch me. Sputla, come on.
Sputla. Yeah, but it wouldn't be a positive pairing.
Okay, explain that.
Okay, so with Menzi, for example, Menzi was positive in that he was like on Generations. It was a lost love.
Okay.
Yeah. And so because the characters that Menzi tends to play are gangsterish and kind of, and I tend to play positive roles.
Okay.
Do you understand?
I got you.
So for us to be in a positive relationship would be challenging for the audience. South African audience tends to be very sentimental in their viewing, but you can see Patrick and I being a couple throughout, and he and I have always been that, like very positive. Even when he is a bad guy, somehow it works.
There's always that.
So Sputla would fall in that Menzi, but even on the other side with him. Do you understand?
Because Sputla has it almost like a Tsotsi character, a Tsotsi feel to his character.
Do you see now the
clever?
do you see how you can't polish him up into the kind of husband that you would expect out of me?
Actually, you're so right, because Patrick is polished in that sense.
Yes.
Like there's something about
there's something redeemable about him.
Yeah,
Do you understand?
yeah.
And there's something sexy about Umenzi that is bad boy sexy. That he could be a good guy. He could be,
but he's bad boy.
He's a bad boy that does good things.
Yeah. Interesting. It almost looks like even in his real life, not acting, that's the character he carries.
Umenzi was such an amazing soul.
Yeah.
He was such an amazing, and he was as an amazing friend as well. I don't know him as in a romantic way personally, so I cannot vouch for him in that. But as a friend, he was amazing. He gave me his trust at a time where he was so incredibly vulnerable.
Sure. Yeah.
Because you remember when I started to work with him on Generations. He literally came out of hospital, and the IV, the drip that you saw him, that was in his arm.
What?
Yeah.
That was real.
That was real. The hospital bed came from the hospital.
That was all real.
That was all real.
What?
And
it was put up very well. We didn't pick up that he was dealing with
And he was
this.
doing dialysis in the dressing room when we're running lines.
That's crazy.
So for somebody to then trust you, like we're rehearsing and he's doing dialysis, and he says, "No, I need to do dialysis first." And I said, "Means I've seen you naked. What else?" He says, "But there's an open wound." I'm like, "Let me see it. Do you need help cleaning it?"
You're brave.
When somebody gives you that level of trust, you embrace it and you honor it and you protect it.
That's true.
And so when we would travel together, it would be like, "Menzi, sit down. I'll go sort it out." It got to the point where Menzi would just automatically sit down and say, "I know small nose has it." No.
Go on.
No, small nose. Small nose out. And
was that the name between the two of you?
He's Chiscop and I'm small nose.
Because
Because he's always.
always. Why? That's what he calls you.
So no, we So
there was a special connection.
It was a very special. So I lost a very dear friend. I lost a lover, an on-screen lover.
Yeah,
do you understand?
Yeah.
So
they call them my work husband.
Patrick was my
work husband. Okay.
more than Menzi, but in a different way to Menzi, in that we, oh my God, so many. To the point where his wife, I literally called him Musadi Muhulu because I was the other wife.
You gave her the respect.
And, our relationship went off screen, and where I knew his kids and spent time with his family and so on. And I wanted her to know. It was very important for me that she knows that I am not your replacement. I am another part of his life, and I'm also fully cognizant of your role in his life. Sure. So when there was a day where there was an emergency at the home, and she was there, and they agreed that I would be the best person to help with that. And I get this call at before I even get to work. I'm like, "Shashai ukokai," and he says, "I'm at home. This is the problem." Okay, no, she's right here next to me. Okay, what do you need? Because I needed to check that he's not calling me outside of her. And there were two of them were making the call to me, like, "Hey, Musadmunyan, this is what's going on. Fix it. Do you?" And I was on it, and I was like, and it felt like an honor as well, because whoa, okay.
Surely
I better step up.
His death was clearly tricky, and also how it came about is also a problem. How did you manage to deal with that? Because that was something else. And dealing with death is one thing, but dealing with that type of death is also tricky.
I'm going to take a sip. I think you need to understand that the life of an actor, and I say specifically an actor, not just an artist, but the life of an actor is, it's almost like an imposter kind of life. You go into people's lives and you create these realities. So I come into your living room creating this reality. And when I train or when I do master classes for actors, I tell them, you don't matter. You as an actor, you don't matter. You are a vessel for the character that you're building. So vacate the space and create the character, and your body is just there to hold this personality, this person. Yeah. So when you then do that for a living, this person today, that person today, and I used to say to my son, especially when he was much younger, I had to teach him that when I come home, give me an hour to exit this person.
Sure.
So that I can bring back your mom. But can you imagine? I was playing. Remember when I was on Sia Vandelane, I played this horrible woman.
What was that character again?
I started Sia Vandelane in 2002.
Yes. We've researched all of this.
Oh my gosh, you know my life.
No, we do, unfortunately. That's keys. Yeah, tell us about that character.
So Zandile was this horrible person. She literally was abusive to. I used horrible. And I remember with this one director, Alvin, at the end of a scene that he was directing. Yeah. So they didn't say cut. So I'm like, the scene is over, and my training says when the lines are over, and the director doesn't say cut, you just continue. You continue with the. So I would continue.
Yeah.
But if the end of the scene was me insulting you, and I always said I do not use swear words. I don't like 4-letter words. Yeah. But it doesn't mean I'm not capable of insulting.
Of course.
So I would then be insulting this person. And I remember this one time, Alvin forgot to say cut. And so I continued. And somebody else said, cut.
Enough now.
Stop her.
She'll kill someone.
and Alvin said, if you were saying that to me, my balls would have shriveled up. And I went,
jeez. Wow.
And so imagine that person that I've been carrying and embodying and portraying to you. That's the person I go home with. Yeah. And that's not a person I want my child to meet.
Yo.
So I come home, I hug and kiss him, and I'm like, hold on, baby, hold on. I'll be right back. Mama needs to pee first.
Get rid of someone.
Close the door and do what needs to be done. And then half an hour later, I'll come out and like, hey, who's hungry? How you doing, everybody? And I'm back to being me again. So those in your life is about serving all these different people. That's what your life is. And if you're as good at it as Patrick was, that is a lot of soul going in and out and in and out. We were having a conversation earlier in the studio where I was just now, where we're talking about how people view us as actors based on the characters that they see us play on television. Most actors, the majority of really, really good actors are introverts. Because what we do is we study human behavior and we internalize it. Yes. So you need to be incredibly in touch with yourself in order to be actually any good at that.
To allow somebody else to come into your life and find space.
And also to be humble enough to vacate yourself and
allow somebody else
to take. Yeah, you want.
Whoa.
So we tend to be very introverted. And I'm sitting in the party and I'm sitting in the corner. Unless it's a one-on-one conversation, then it's okay. I'm good with that.
But you're likely to be found in a corner somewhere.
Yeah, eating chicken wings. But now, and I say this to people, and somehow it just goes over their heads. My work is public. but my life is private.
That's true.
That means I'm a private person. Even though you see me out there and people expect that you're gonna be that,
all the time,
and extroverted, and you go to a function and you're like, and anybody who knows me knows that I'm usually late at functions.
Why you want everybody to be?
I don't want to be there.
Oh,
I just don't want to be there at all.
Yes,
because there's a part of me that I struggle to access. That
happy Diana Ross. You can't be Brenda Fassie.
Actually, Brenda Fassie was an introvert. She used to put on the act.
Yeah,
and I put on the act, and it takes a lot of energy.
Jeez.
I remember sitting in a corner with her at the studios in Henley, and generations back then used to have, like, on Fridays they'd have drinks and parties and so on. So she was like one of the guests. I think she had done a guest spot or something, and so she was there on the Friday. And she and I were sitting in the corner together. And just
and then two introverts.
The two introverts sitting in the... We found each other and we were sitting there. And somebody says, "Oh, Brenda." And they were like, "Come on." And she looked at me and she went,
"Whoa."
And she got up to go and put on there.
She knows the switch.
And I knew exactly what she was doing. And I do that. I was like...
Let's go work.
And the eyes are different and the smile is different, and then I go home and I need an hour just to, like, and I call it download, and I tell my family, like, I need to download. I need to just detox just for a bit. Let me detox. You're
referring to this very important part of this conversation that most people would not identify with, but now we get it because of the Patrick Shai reference.
Right.
That his death shocked most of us.
Now, I bring this up.
Yes.
In that, thank you for bringing me back. I tell long stories.
Don't worry. I pay attention.
So the reason I'm bringing this up is that we are very selfless, self-centered, extrovert, but introverted people.
Very conflicted.
We're not conflicted about it.
Yeah.
We're not conflicted about it. It is how we're perceived that is conflicting.
Okay.
I know where the balance is.
You know what's going on.
I know what's going on, and I'm comfortable with what's going on because I signed up for this. I didn't sign up for fame. I signed up for the craft.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are insensitive because they crave the fame, and so they think I'm being... they say actors, they work hard to be famous and then to be recognized, and then spend all of their time trying to hide from it. No. You got it wrong. I love what I do. I really love what I do. It feeds my soul. If I have not done an acting job in a year, I feel empty. It feeds my soul.
Yeah.
But not the crowds. The crowds scare me. It's when you have those eyes on you, and like I can feel every pore in my body, and it does not feel comfortable. Can you imagine all the holes in your body? Like,
and there's millions of them.
And it's scary.
Yeah.
So now, all of those expectations have been magnified on social media as well.
Changed the game.
Completely changed the game. A big part of me, and I said this in public very recently, that I envied him the peace. And I understood him wanting that peace. I get it. And do you remember Moses Muleluga also committed suicide?
Yes, I do.
When he died, I was very angry with him because I was very close with him. We were raising our kids together. Zoe was the same age as Vangile.
Okay.
And they were, I think, in their in their twos.
Very young.
Our kids were about 18 months. And no. Yeah, Vangile is just making 2. And Zoe, I think, was around the same age. So he and Flo were like frequent visitors at my house. We went to church together. Wow. So, I mean, we were like, it was,
It was a close-knit setup.
Yeah. And so when his death, I was closer to him more than I was with Flo.
Yeah.
His death really affected me, and I was incredibly angry with him. I was actually at Sevendelan at the time, and I couldn't, I was just walking around angry on set. Nothing would satisfy me. I was really, really angry on set. And fortunately, I had an amazing makeup and wardrobe team. That's where, that's where you vent and whinge and
Yeah.
And when they found out that a friend of mine had just died, then they went, oh,
we get it.
That's fine. So they were very understanding. So it never became an industry issue. It just became a personal thing. But I'm saying it now in that I did not understand what he was going through. When Patrick now passed, I then reflected back to when Moss passed away. And I was like, peace. It's peace.
The noise
is so loud and it's so overbearing and overpowering that the peace of it. I joke around in the household, with the blackouts. I can't sleep when it's that quiet.
Oh, you need something to.
Yeah, because then
what noise do you use for that?
Now I'm looking.
I want to ask again because of that. You figure it out. You figure out how to answer it in a way that's decent, if at all it's a problem.
I watch a lot of crime channel.
Okay, wow, we have the same problem, but carry on.
I do. I watch a lot of crime channel, and I play a lot of gospel music.
Okay, well, that's a balance between the crime and the gospel.
Yeah. So basically, I can kill you, bury your body nice and proper, and then go back and pray about it.
Pretty much. If religion is anything to go by, you'll ask for forgiveness.
I will. And go back and sleep well at night after that.
I can't believe
you know how people always say, how do you sleep at night? Very well.
Yeah.
Very well.
Jeez. Do you know, I want to take this moment to go back to the reason why I started the way I did. I went straight to, how are you?
And you got the real answer, didn't you?
Yeah, your question.
Don't you regret it now?
Your answer was, is that it? Are we starting? Because I don't start that way. I do these introductions. And why I didn't with you is because there's a phrase that people use. MCs, they say, she needs no introduction. That's exactly what I did.
And then they go ahead and introduce you.
You see, that's exactly what I did. I lived up to the phrase, she needs no introduction. Because your work, what you've done and what you continue to do for us, like when I got a yes, she said yes. Like, no way. There's no way she said yes.
Did you hear the no before that?
I didn't. I wasn't told. I'm like a president. They don't tell me what EFF is planning to do. They just defend me. And I don't know the real story.
I don't like doing interviews.
Wow, we have the same problem. I agree though, but I don't enjoy them. And yet I have this thing that I do here.
I know, and when I'm on that side of the microphone, I will then take away all the noise and do basically the way that you're doing it, because I hate interviews, and so I do conversations. And when somebody does an interview with me, I usually sit up and sit back. And I did an interview on Metro FM while I was at Generations, and I would say to the marketing and the publicity person, Goody, I asked them to do their research.
Yeah.
I am sick and tired after 30 years in the industry of being asked, so when was your break? Where did you start?
Yeah.
Really?
So that means you know nothing.
That means you don't know what to talk to me about.
We're going to show you something that we've done our work. It's that time. She's enjoying this so much, and this we planned.
What is that?
We're celebrating your birthday 2 days before. We're celebrating your birthday 2 days before.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
We're saying to you, happy birthday.
Oh my God.
We said to you, happy birthday. That's what we say. Happy birthday to you.
Yes.
Happy birthday to you.
Woohoo!
Happy birthday, dear Nambitha.
That's me.
Happy birthday to you.
Hip hip.
Una-1.
Hayibo.
Ngeke sithethe.
Sawufika nini?
Ngeke sifike. Wow.
56.
56.
Oh, you know how we're saying it? A 5, a 6.
Six.
A
Oh,
5.
It's your birthday in 2 days.
It's my birthday in 2 days. So is this gonna stay here?
We don't have to keep it there, but we thought let's acknowledge that now you were born.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we thought let's acknowledge that now you were born.
I was born.
Yeah, you didn't.
I was born. Thank
And
you so much.
We brought up at that moment where you say people don't research. We thought, nah.
So I went to go and do a conversation,
Yes.
an interview, and what I was saying is there's a difference between an interview and a conversation. This is a conversation.
That's true.
Which is why I think you noticed that I'm just like talking.
Yes.
And then there is the interview, and this person shall please remain nameless. First of all, could not get my name right.
Ooh. It's a common problem.
No, I forget people's names, and I say that that's my superpower.
I like.
I'd be like, what's your name again? But if you've got notes in front of you and you're still calling me Nambitha or
Did they say Nambitha? Look at my trick. You see my trick?
I love it.
There has to be tricks to the game.
But that means that you acknowledge that you could forget.
Absolutely.
And in respect for me, you will make sure that you don't.
That is the trick.
And
I'm only human. Those moments happen.
But you're fallible, you're human.
Yeah.
And if you acknowledge that, then nothing's going to bother you because we fall down,
Yes.
but we get up.
That's it. Eh?
You know, it's okay to fall because you're going to get up anyway, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this person then kept asking me questions that were, so when did you start? Where did you study?
Ooh.
Where were you raised?
Oh.
And my son is sitting here, and my son knows my silent cues. And I think he saw me do this first. And I physically distanced myself from him, and they kept trying to bring the mic to me, and I kept moving back. And that was me going,
No.
we're done here.
Yeah.
And then he would call me Nambitha, and Nandi, and then he would look at the notes and ask questions like, "So, where were you born again?" There's a diva in me that starts with a BITCH, and oh no, she checked in. She checked in immediately. She pushed me right off that chair and took over and said,
"Are the mics on?"
The mic's on, and that BITCH went, didn't you do your research?
I'm afraid of you. Mind you, I'm scared now.
And then he did it again, and I was like, I thought you had notes there.
Yeah, which have those answers. H.
Then people started calling in and correcting him on air.
Ay.
And they said,
Oh, you don't want that. You know, we have a double-edged sword to our job. We broadcast to an audience that doesn't know anything about you.
But there is a way of doing that. So, David, you've been at this for a long time.
That's true. That's forever.
Now, you were at Metro, but not everybody knows that you were a producer. Tell us about that.
There you go.
This is me saying, I know this, but let's share it with the audience.
Yes.
But so, where did you start? Why do you have me here?
Hey, you don't know. Do you know how I phrase that question? And it segues us nicely into it. Because the content of this is to keep your history intact somewhere.
Right.
Somebody has to document it.
Right.
We say, is it Umtata where you were born?
Tata.
Is it and people, because I was only once in Mthatha in my life, very recently actually. And abantu bayibiza abafaki the UM, right? But no.
Umthatha is the river.
Okay.
Mthatha is the town.
Ooh. Umtata is the river. Mtata
is the town.
Why do you remove the U?
The U.
I didn't know that.
Umtata. Umlambo umtata.
That's it.
Yes, because kwisiXhosa, a river is alive.
That's important.
So uDavid.
Yes.
Uzozo.
Umtata.
Umbhashe. Inciba. We personify it.
Yes.
Yes. So Mthatha is the town.
There's something to be said about the life that's drawn from a river, the life that's seen when one acknowledges this. Something to be said about the spiritual connection with flowing water and all of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Your early life, when you were born and you opened your eyes, who did you find in the house?
My first emotional mother was my grandmother. The grand diva in my life. Ooh, that diva. She taught me the stare.
Oh, she had one.
And the finger. Now, I've now adjusted the finger to...
Yeah. You've added.
She
Ooh.
stayed with the
I
finger.
don't have anyone who gives me that.
When
I'll tell
she-
you someone, and she's in the room. Zozo has a thing now.
Does she do the eye?
Yeah, lately. It's a new thing she's got. I don't know why she's seeing it. Maybe
I told you we get bullied.
She has
I
a
told
thing
you we
now.
get
Yeah,
bullied.
she has a
And
thing.
they bully. Guys, I'm starting to sweat again. Please open the door.
Let's. Oh, I said leave it open. Let me help you out to do this. I get you. They'll be chatting. Where are they? They'll be chatting. They can sit in there, and then we leave the door open.
Otherwise, I will be sitting here with James Brown.
Yeah, fanning yourself. Yeah. Actually, I have to fix that. I keep postponing to do it.
The aircon.
Yeah,
I thought it was on when we
No,
came
it
in.
makes noise on our cameras, so we avoid it as much as we can. And also, load shedding when it hits, the studio stays on. However, you're na ilama battery weight, and we don't notice
Until
Peli is out. Then we say, it chowed our batteries. So that's the problem.
do you charge the batteries?
We charge them like when there's power, they charge.
Okay.
And also when the sun helps to charge.
So
them.
it's
We have
solar as
we have
well.
panels
Solar
as
power.
well, yeah.
Well, that's
and I've
really
had
good.
it for 10 years.
Oh, nice.
I've been at it from the first
You've
time.
been having it.
Yeah, no, yeah. When we started with load shedding, the first time around, Zuma years, I went straight to solar. So I've been at
He
it
said
for
the
2
Z
years.
word.
The C word. Can't believe we have the N word. Now it's the
And
Z
we've got the
word.
Z word. My dad loves Zuma. Yo, Nkosi yam. And
course.
it didn't make sense to me until I learned that he was MK, and I was like, of course.
It's like people who love Kaiser Chiefs. I say this with respect. Yeah. Granted.
Thank you.
Well done. Well
Thank you.
done.
Thank
People
you.
who love Kaiser Chiefs, and I say it with respect, is the history more than the present, because there's nothing to love in the present, frankly. I say it with respect.
So I love two teams now.
Okay.
I love
You
the
see?
Chiefs.
Yeah.
I love Chiefs because Umama, my grandmother, taught me to love Chiefs, and whenever there's a game on, is it the Chiefs? Oh, okay, nobody's playing then.
That's funny.
Then there's
And
no soccer.
Which other
And
one?
Royal AM because Sean is my friend.
Oh, that's also the connection.
Yes.
Yes.
So I even before they called it Royal AM, I used to go to their games.
Yeah.
And so I mean, so for me it was always a personal connection, and because I love Chiefs and Jessica with
Yeah, of
Daung
course,
was
yes.
also a friend. So I've always had like there's always
personal.
there's a personal connection there, and so win or lose, I'm there.
Let call your friend Royal AM. Ne?
Sean,
Yeah. And tell her that we need her in the game.
in what way?
Badly. The game needs her drive.
She's very driven.
That's why I say that. And I'm
Sean,
aware of it.
Sean was driven before you guys knew Mam Kize.
Yes, the character that she's become. I say that because Tina Sazi, the
Okay,
peripheral.
I can't say that.
Instagram
I can't
piece.
say that because I'm her friend.
Yes, of course.
And also because she's my friend. So I know she would never call me a carrot.
Oh, yes.
You understand?
Respect.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I first met her what I mean is when I first met her, she was the introvert sitting in the corner. And I was like, and I'd go and sit with her because that's how I feel. Yeah. And it made sense. And that's how she and I got close. And so, like, I remember, like, we'd go and visit her place. And I'm there with my friends and they're loud. And Sean and I sitting in the corner, and then we just get up and we go and make breakfast. And we'd kind of move around like this with each other. And she'd be like, where do you want to stay? Like, can I stay at your small house? And so she had this tiny little house, like, which was her first house. Yeah. She'd like, okay, here are the keys. And I go stay there and it's quiet. It's just me. And the guys were like, oh, which hotel are we staying at? I'm like,
at the small house.
I'm at the small house, And so she and I connected on that very emotional. And so that's how I know her. So when my relationship with her is not a public one.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now people know.
Just happened.
It just happened. But I love her quiet space. I love her quietness. And I recognized her power immediately when I met her. It's like, this woman is she's holding up a pedestal.
That's why I say this, and it's important that I express it clearly. The game of soccer in South Africa needs bold characters.
Yeah. No, she's strong.
Absolutely.
Oh, no, she's strong.
Yeah.
She's all muscle.
Yeah. People who will take bold decisions and take chances because there's a team that has shown that it can be done. Yeah. And the game can be brought to a higher level.
And she's done that.
That's why I say we need her to keep going.
When she talks about her team, she's like, oh, my boys, and I'm like, dear. You should probably not say that in public. Wait, I just did it. Okay.
But yeah, we really...
No, she is incredibly passionate about those guys. And I know a lot of stuff is said in the media about her. And I think now... from the beginning of our conversation, there's the public persona and then there's the private persona. Yeah. And Sean has managed to do there's the Mumkeys part. But then there's Sean. Yeah. There's Sean. And my relationship is with Sean.
With this.
Yes.
I guess that's the character I was referring to. The person that we see on Instagram that we don't clearly know.
But in order for you to know her power as all of these things that she's doing. Keep in mind, when she was doing the other stuff, when she was married to Smoo, he was the one on top of the pedestal.
That's true.
Do you understand? True. But she was still carrying the pedestal.
Yeah.
So the work that she's doing now, she's always done
it. We just happened to see it.
You just didn't know her.
Yeah.
So now she created somebody that will sit on top of the pedestal that she's still carrying. So now she's doing double duty.
Yo, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? How many divas are out there doing the same thing?
It's endless. And most not known at all.
I know. I know.
Okay, all right. I still want to go back to Granny. And then look, I will not forget
my original grand diva.
Yes.
She was an amazing powerhouse. So she was 53 when I was born.
Okay.
And... So the history of my family is this. So when I talk about my dad, it's actually my uncle.
Okay, yeah.
My mother was an unwed mother and she was a young teenage mom. So I was brought into the family and my grandmother then was the custodian parent. But I actually belonged to my uncle.
Okay.
So kwaXhosa, when a young girl in the family has a baby, that baby belongs to the eldest male.
And the uncle
was my
became
dad.
Daddy immediately.
Yeah, but he was only 20 at the time.
Ooh.
So then my grandparents became my custodian parents until he was old enough to then take over the relationship.
And he knew this.
He knew
there
this.
was no discussion here.
No. In fact, and I will say this publicly now, he and I got into a humongous fight after I came back from Canada. And I was like, where have you been? He said, I'm your father, and you will. And I'm like, how dare you call yourself that? Where were you? And where you went? And I remember we're in Pretoria at my uncle's place, and we walked up and down, and we walked around the block, and he and I were just like in a fight. It's the only fight that I've ever had with him, and it was like. And at the end of that fight, I said, I'm sorry. And from that day on, I called him Dad.
So you acknowledged your position in the pecking order?
No.
Yeah.
He reminded me how he has been my father all along.
What led you to forgetting, if we use that phrase?
Because the way that I've just explained it to you now, how when a child is born into the family and what the tradition is, he told me that day. I've always been there. And then not only did he teach me that, but he also then showed me instances of where he was.
Yeah.
How did you get to Lesotho? Oh, I don't know. Well, let me remind you. Do you remember you stayed with this person? I brought them there. Do you remember you stayed there? You remember you had that? You remember? And I'm like, oh.
You thought all that was magic when you were young.
I never even thought of it. That's the beauty of being a child. That is the luxury of being parented.
You don't notice who pays for the life.
You should not.
I guess.
You should not.
Yeah.
And I always get upset when my children walk into conversations about how I'm struggling to do this or how I'm struggling to do that. I don't want them to be a part of that.
Why is that?
Because my battles are mine. It's okay that I will say to my kids, I'm stressing about this and I'm stressing about that. And then they'll go, okay, Ma, I'm sorry. Is there anything I can do? I said, pray for me.
Yeah.
That's it. And I'll go and retreat into my quiet space and I will figure it out. And then when I'm done figuring it out, I'll take them out and I'll say, okay, we've transcended. We're okay.
Yeah.
And they'll be, as they're getting older, then I teach them how to struggle, but I don't bring them into my struggle.
Yeah. What do you think is the implication of bringing them in your struggle? Had you brought them in your struggle, what would be the result of that?
I want them to have the vocabulary of victory.
From a young age?
Yes. They must see how I become victorious. They'll see me being stressed and I'll say, give me a moment to figure it out. Yeah. And sometimes I taught them about quiet time. Like, I need my quiet time. I need to just work it through. And okay, I figured it out. Let's go and celebrate.
Yeah.
What did you figure out? Well, I'll share this with you and I'll share that with you, but the rest of it, no, you don't need to know. You will have your own struggles, but you don't need my vocabulary of struggling.
Yeah.
I want to teach you my vocabulary of being victorious, of winning, of succeeding. I want you to have that. But I don't want you to learn about failings. No, I don't want that.
Yeah. I had a chat with the Vice Chancellor of UCT.
Oh, isn't she a massive...
She's incredible.
I envy you that.
She sat on that chair. We were very lucky. She came through during her December holidays. She was in Joburg, in Pretoria, actually, because that's where her parents there are and so forth. And she answered it exactly the same way. She says, it's my dad's words to me, to her in that context, that made her who she's become. Yeah. Daddy did not see failure in her. Daddy saw a winner, and Daddy reminded her that she's going to do great things. And this was said over and over and over.
That's what you need to emphasize, and that's what you need to reinforce in your kids. Yeah. Not, oh my God, life is so hard. No.
Never.
I'm having a bad day. I'll be right back.
Yeah, give me a moment.
Give me a moment. Yeah. Let me fix this. Okay.
We're good. Let's go to
We're good. And they'll be like, what did you do? I'm like, I needed to sit still.
Yeah.
And I will tell them, I need a quiet time. I need to sit still and hear my thoughts. And then so that I can come up with the solutions. I need to pray. And they'll see me like blasting, like I will be blasting my gospel music.
Whoa,
and singing at the top of my lung, off key, but at the top of my lungs. And just praising God and saying, Lord, I trust you. Yeah. I know my Redeemer lives. I know that you will bless me indeed. You will, enlarge my territory. I'm trusting this and I'm reinforcing it into my spirit so that when they are struggling and I say these words to them, they know that they've seen me use those words for myself. Do you
Positive
understand?
words.
Yes. Not, oh Lord, life is so hard. Yes, life is hard, but that's not what I dwell on. I don't celebrate life being
hardship.
hard.
You don't host pity parties.
Oh, yes, I do.
Oh, you do?
Lord have mercy.
That's clearly not with the kids in the house. Jeez. But the strength that you have, because to achieve what you've done and to have lived a life that you continue to live, must have come from some women in your life. Did Granny live that? Not only the look and the finger, but also the strength of character.
I've had really strong women around me, and just listening to your question now and reflecting back, first the grand diva, of course, my grandmother, and then my dad sent me to boarding school in Lesotho, in an all-girls school. So, right there, surrounded by women, and again, achieving and being encouraged and growing in that environment of just women. And then I moved to Canada, and I struggled a bit finding my voice, getting used to my voice being heard in different ways. That's when I started writing. I always sang other people's songs. Now I wrote my own words, my own poetry, and all of a sudden I had these thoughts that I could encourage in myself that, oh, wait a minute, I can speak. And when I say things, people are hearing, what? You're actually actioning my words. Oh, right now.
There's something here.
And then when I moved to Toronto, and that's when I went professional in 89, I found myself in a community of women. Now, I was the biggest idiot in the room.
Really?
In that I did not know that I was in a gay and lesbian community.
Hey.
Really...
Something to be said about ignorance. But carry on.
When ignorance is bliss, it ceases to see. Hey. So here I was in this community of these beautiful, loving women. There were couples, but I didn't see them as couples. I was, oh God, roommates and friends. And I did not have the vocabulary for it, so I did not know. So I also did not have then the prejudice against it.
That's bliss of ignorance.
That's the blissfulness. That's the bliss of ignorance. Well put. So I lived, and they were raising kids, they were raising families, and
this was very early on, though, eh? That's many years ago. This is
1989, 1990, and I was happy
in this community.
In this community of women, and and one of my best friends, Margarita, who worked together at Theatre in the Rough. Oh my God, the head of Theatre in the Rough was also gay.
You didn't know. I know. You don't have, they call it, what do they call it? Gaydar. Yours is.
Now my gaydar is on point. No, my gaydar is on point now. Yes. Oh no, I'm grown now. I'm grown.
It took you a while to... Jeez.
Yeah, it took me a while. So Margaret, like my best friend, she had to come out to me. This is now after I've moved her into a 1-bedroom apartment with another woman. And I was like, are you sure this is going to be big enough for you guys? And she's like, yeah. Like, there's only 1 bedroom. No, we'll make it work. Yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. I helped her move into this 1-bedroom apartment with this woman. And then they had a fight, and she had bruises, and I was covering her with makeup. I'm like, we need to do something about this.
Yeah, because you don't realize these people are dating. Oh, boy. I may have missed it as myself at some point.
I was so dumb.
Yeah.
Until she came out to me, because I was like, we went to an open mic. And I said, I think there were gay people there. She goes, really? I was like, yeah, I don't quite get it, but I think.
They were gay.
And I thought I was being smart. I'm like, Mags, I think there may have been gay people there. And she goes, really?
I can't believe you. How ignorant were you in that moment?
And then she had to come out to me, and she goes, I'm kind of one of them. I'm like, No, you don't do poetry.
Is that what you thought gay people did?
No. Because the women, they were doing poetry, and that's what I was doing. It was
Yes.
open mic. So she said she was one of them. I'm like, no, you don't do poetry.
You're not one of
You're not
us.
one of them.
Wow.
She goes, I think it took her like 2 weeks to come out to me.
Slowly, like gradually. Wow, you've had an interesting exposure to gay and lesbian community. It's a different world now, though.
Yeah.
What makes you be so serious in your reaction to my comment?
There was a respect and a wholesomeness. And I watched my friends raising kids that were never challenged in their sexuality. It wasn't you have to be heterosexual or you have to be lesbian or gay like I am. None of that. Even for male gay people or female gay people. I mean, I was part of the queer culture in Toronto, and they all knew that I was straight. I was called the het in the room.
Yes.
Because when they're like, are you sure? Do you want to come and find out? Maybe you might like it. I'm like,
no, I'm good.
Listen, I just found out about this. Like, I was involved in queer culture without knowing full well what was involved.
Yes.
Until I saw the nipple piercings, I was like, whoa, okay,
Maybe
look.
not. Yes.
But, I mean, that scared me. But I never had the vocabulary to discriminate against them because I had such a positive introduction to this community that I've never had a negative perception of them. What you were seeing now for me was the disrespect that is coming up these days. That's where I'm like, come on. We've coexisted with each other for so many years, decades, hundreds of years. Why now?
What's happening now?
Why now? What's going on? I'm not challenging who you are. Why should you challenge who I am?
Yeah.
That's like, we're okay.
I had a soccer referee, female soccer referee, and she would not like the fact that I said female. For that very point, she said, why don't we call male referees male referees?
In the same way that we don't call doctors white doctors, we call them black doctors.
Yes, she was saying exactly that.
It's an otherness that is in our vocabulary.
Yeah.
And before you get there, that's part of the reason why I left Canada, is because I was sick of being other.
Oh, what other did you become?
I was the black whatever.
Oh.
And I said, let me go home so I can just be the doctor, the lawyer.
Yes.
And I got here and I was still the other.
Unfortunately.
And because my thinking was that I'm going home to a place where I'm in the majority.
You can't be.
I don't need to be defined. I no longer have to be exotic. I no longer have to explain my hair. No longer have to have people touching my skin to see if it comes off.
If you put something on it.
Can I touch your hair? Hell no.
You've had that.
Oh, please.
You've had, can I touch your hair?
People would just come and touch my hair. I actually, David, you're gonna love this.
That's crazy.
In Moscow, I had people touch. Anyways, a story other day. So I as you know, I think now you're getting the gist of my personality. I was raised by a diva, so I've found I found ways of dealing with things that are not necessarily confrontational, or So if you are emboldened enough to come and touch my hair and you and I are not even on a first name basis, you haven't bothered to introduce yourself or ask for my permission, then I can touch your boobs.
Is that what you did?
I did.
Touch my hair, I touch your boobs.
And they're like, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I thought we were being familiar.
Yeah, we are touching each other.
We're touching each other. They're like, but I only touched your hair. I'm like, how do you know that's not personal to me?
Yeah. That's crazy.
What made you think it's okay? But it's not okay to touch my boobs. I'm like, I know.
That's
and it's not okay to touch my hair. You'll never do that again now, will you?
Wow, you came up with a very unconventional way of doing it.
I didn't have to say anything. I didn't have to just...
Jeez.
And they'd be like, oh, Yeah. Well,
Your relationship with mommy early on,
yeah.
were you aware this lady is my mom with all this love coming from granny and so forth?
That was Mama.
Mm.
Granny was Mama, and my grandfather was Tata, and that was that. That's it.
The mom in the house, but
No, she was in exile for most of my. She was,
young life.
No,
Yeah.
there was always clarity,
Okay.
but there was always my brother,
Okay.
because now he's my brother because I'm being raised by his mother,
Yes.
who is constantly in my space, and I'm like. And now he wants to, assert his authority over me. And one day he hit us. We're playing in one of his old cars. And he took one of the wires, the cable wires, and he hit us so hard. Okay, fine. We probably deserved it. But later on, I will tell you why he was, he was so unhappy about us playing there. Because he used to hide stuff in there.
Oh, much older.
Yes, of course. He was 20 years older than me. Yes.
Yeah.
But, he was involved in the anti-apartheid movement, of course. So, of course, there were
Things
in there. But we just saw an old car and we was like, and we were playing in the car. And so he took the wires and beat us up so badly so that we would never play in that car again. And Umama came out,
so clearly Mama and I didn't know about the shenanigans.
She just knew. No, I don't know if she knew about that, but she knew that she should not be hitting us like that.
Okay, yes. It's too much.
It was too much. And we, of course, crying in the house.
Oh, no. Jeez.
She yelled at him so badly. And he came back with Tofalax in the evening.
And said, hey.
So he was always, inserting himself in my life. And only that day of that argument in Pretoria did now it all come together as, you were fathering me.
And I
didn't know it.
Yeah.
And he also taught me the power of step back and the power of just watch and wait. Just wait. Just wait a bit longer. Just wait. And then car comes back. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't have to chase you.
No. You always come back.
He taught me that.
It's an interesting thing that he took up that role so well and with such, he literally became a dad in a true sense, even better than some fathers.
He was my dad from the get-go. He just was too young to...
Properly in the beginning, so to speak.
That's why I called my grandparents my custodial parents.
Yes, but this has always been the dad.
Yeah.
So when we were fighting for freedom, and when we were fighting for freedom, was he one of those that left the country or he stayed?
He was one of those that helped people get out of the country.
He was the connect.
He was the Underground Railroad.
It's a very key part of the story. Because without that, nobody's leaving.
Nobody's leaving. I've met some of the people that he helped to get out of the country.
Yeah.
And and they look at me, and when I talk about him, they're like, do you know who your dad is?
Jeez. Because they know.
They know.
Yeah.
They know things about him that I never knew, that I did not know. You know when you know something and you know about something, but you don't know much about it? I didn't know that I did not know that.
Yes.
Yeah. Oof. So learning about him has led me to a project that I'm now working on. Just to go back now. You remember you were saying you were a historian, and going into some of those roots and some of those, not roots R-O-O, but R-O-U.
Got you. Yes.
The roots that he took to get people out of the country. And the people that he got out, and the people that he helped once he then left the country. And all of these stories, I'm like, what?
How did you do this? That's crazy.
That you? Is that you?
It's interesting that's the role he took on. Because do you know how we because of the mess, and I use it very gently, of the mess we find ourselves as a country, we tend to forget the sacrifice that went to get the freedom that we got. And stories like yours remind us of, hey, you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know.
You don't know.
Yeah.
Knowing the challenges that we're having as a country, there were people who were actively involved.
I remember we were shooting the lab with Fana Mukwena. And Fana had this expression. I heard it for the first time when talking to him. He used to talk about inzals and exiles, and how the exiles, got to go and live the soft life, and they left the country. And I'm like, Bato.
Yeah.
Do you know Kubaning Kekona Wasuto? And he goes, no. And why are you saying it like that? Did it because when I first went into exile, I discovered that there were black people that did not speak isiXhosa. Do you call that a soft life? At 13 years old? How soft is that?
You get to an environment where nobody speaks your language.
What were you doing when you were 13?
Yeah.
Were you being chased with shamboks?
Sure.
When you were 13? Were you discovering in countries you don't know about and living with complete strangers when you were 13? Or were you sleeping in your mother's house? Now tell me about the soft life. A lot of people don't know what people went through and why a lot of the children of the people that left the country are so angry at the current government.
Yeah.
And the failings of the current government.
So your anger is probably even more exaggerated, so to speak, because you were part of the sacrifice.
I was part of the sacrifice, and I was part of the inherited sacrifice as well. And my anger is in that, I gave an example that I remember we were in Moscow at the Youth Festival in 1985. And it was youth from all over the world. And I was representing Canada.
Not even South Africa.
No, I was representing South African youth in Canada.
Okay, that way.
Yeah,
yes,
that way.
Yes.
And so here we are in Moscow, and we're having all these bilaterals, and we're talking politics. And then we go party at night with this, it's youth from all over the world.
Yo.
And I'm learning about Russia, and I'm learning about South Africans from Bulgaria. It's from El Salvador, and it's like, oh my God, it was mind blowing. All of us, same age, experiences, and each of us have whatever country we're in. We're learning the culture and the language of that country, and I was 18, and it just taught me to calm down. It's okay. You're right. You're all right. You're all right. It's okay. And so we would go out and party, and Alfred Nzo would be among us. And I'm like,
such a big name.
Bruh. And he was drinking with us. But when there's a grown up in the room, your glass is constantly. And that's why he was there.
To monitor.
Not to monitor, but to be our conscience. There was always, he'd sit back in the room. He's in the corner somewhere. But when you're about to do something stupid, you look in the dark corners to see who's watching. And you see him going,
yay.
You go, crap.
Maybe I shouldn't be doing this.
So you won't be so hungover the next day at the bilaterals because April Alpha's there again. Do you understand? So we always had some grown up around us to science one, but you always come back because there's always. But now the youth league now does not have a grown up amongst them. So ngesiXhosa bayaqatsela ngoku.
Okay, what does that mean? In simple,
they
go astray, they go beyond.
They go beyond because there's nobody to
pull them back.
The elders are not present among the youth to impart. And so we would be in the middle of a bilateral and Bra Alpha would walk in, or somebody would walk in, and now you need to check your vocabulary and you go, that word, and you throw in the word and then sit back again. It's your talk. Yeah. And you feel supported, but not imposed upon. Do you know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
And we miss that.
Sure.
And that's missing right now.
We can look at that as a a tiny microcosm of the current reality. Fine, you're talking ANC politics in that context.
That's my entire experience. That's my entire experience.
Absolutely. However, let us now zoom out slightly of that perspective.
Z word. Sorry.
Just zoom out. Just so you know, the Z word is zoomer. Because I said, let's zoom out. Acknowledge the Z word. Well,
oops.
Let's zoom out of that perspective slightly.
Okay, cool.
And have a wider perspective and use the same words you used and said an elder amongst us.
Yeah.
But in this context, we're talking about the youth in general. Yeah. And not just that group of young people.
Still, the youth needs an elder among us.
Yeah.
As a youth, we need an elder. There needs to be somebody omdala nje phakathi kwethu.
Yeah.
Not necessarily to reprimand. But just to be, because when there's an elder amongst you, the youth today has gotten so used to, I will drink with you, but I should not get drunk when I'm with the young ones.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Because you need to uphold the respect.
You need to teach them into yokubana siyakwazi usela singanxihli.
Yeah. Period. That's the story.
I don't know if you know, this is the first time I would ever hold a glass, and that's because I'm turning 5, 6, 56. So I've actually made a couple of decisions about turning 56 that I'm not your child's parent. Mm-hmm. But before this, I would never hold a glass in a picture. Mm-hmm. I just, because I was never a public drinker. I drink in public, but I'm not a public drinker. I don't know if you know the
I get it. Yeah.
Okay. So, so we'll probably refill my glass at this point.
Refill.
But I would not take a picture with a glass. I would not take a picture with a glass. Yeah. I would not have even like a bottle of alcohol. Yeah, like even if you've gifted it to me, I would put it down and then take a picture.
Yes.
Even if I'll just put it down. Do you know what I'm saying?
Got you.
Because it is a self-respect, and it is a respect of whomever is looking up to me. That I'm not shunning it. I'm not snubbing it. But I'm also not promoting it.
That's true.
And that's where the difference is.
The elder amongst the youth. It's
the conscience.
Yeah.
It's the conscience.
Role. Yes.
It's a very important role. So, I am sitting here nabantwana, and I'm a fall down drunk, and I'm smoking whatever with them, and I can't stop them from... I can't be their conscience anymore.
You can't expect from them what you didn't teach them. Yeah. You'll be asking for the impossible.
That's right.
An elder amongst us, because we're looking at scenarios in South Africa where the young don't participate in politics. They say whatever.
I have always voted with my son. Well, since he was alive, I've always voted with him. And they would try to stop him from, when he started to walk, they would try to stop him from coming in. And I would ask them, what is he doing to you that you don't allow him to come in? And they couldn't come up with an answer. I said, well, what do you think about it? I'll be in there.
I have to vote quickly.
And then I'd get into the booth and I'd hold him up and I say, okay, fine. We know who we are because we're raised ANC and I have no shame in that.
That's true.
I have no shame whatsoever in that. But who is going to look after us the best here? Who's going to look after us the best in here? Because when you get to the ballot box, there's a municipality, there's a provincial, there's all of that. Do you understand? There's all of that. And so we'd go through everything. And in the time before the elections, we're having these conversations. And then after when we get to the box, and do you remember when we're having this conversation? Who go, and then it's like, and we take time, and like this is like sometimes it's like
of course the long list,
and it goes through and goes, yo ma, that one. I'm like, tell me why.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Nope. Okay. Let's go. Cut.
Wow.
Yeah. So by the time he's already had his ID. By the time he was voting age, now I no longer can influence his decisions. But I trust that those conversations have led to him wanting to participate and participating in a responsible way, because me choosing there, I wasn't saying, okay, we ANC, so let's go.
Blindly.
But it was, do you remember when we were watching that, the news and this person was saying, yeah, so who are you? Why are you pointing at this person? Is it because you saw them on TV or because you like what they were saying when they were on TV?
Jeez. That's voter education right there.
I had to learn voter education.
Yeah.
And do you remember the days of Visak with the Matla Trust?
Yeah, jeez. That's the late 90s. Yeah.
That was the first play I wrote.
Oh.
Was on voter education.
You were involved in that stuff?
I was in Canada.
Actually, it's not even late 90s, it's early 90s.
It's late 90s, early 90s, late 80s. Yeah.
Whoa.
So, so I was doing voter education. It's the first play I wrote in Canada. Yeah, and performed. It was a one man show, one woman show.
So consciousness of young people, based on the story you're telling, is really in the hands of their parents. Yeah. But it can't start too late. It has to start fairly early.
It has to be suckled.
Yeah.
So that by the time they get older, they're used to having these kind of conversations. I was and just try to take him emntwaneni.
Like ANC or EFF, you're too late.
But also they don't have the vocabulary for reasoning on the subject.
That's true.
And if you don't reason with your child and you don't give your child vocabulary to reason and talk their way out of a situation, somebody else is going to teach them that vocabulary.
Yeah.
And shame on you. Because you were the custodian of their conscience and you did nothing with it.
You'll notice very early that I walk in and out of the story, the history. Mommy. Where do you get exposed to mommy? Where do you meet mommy eventually? Now, biologically.
So I have 3 mothers.
Okay.
I have 3 mothers. There is the grand diva, my grandmother.
Yeah.
I never questioned that she was my mother. I mean, she was old and mothers of my, my friends were younger, but I never questioned it.
That's your mom.
I loved her. She loved me. And that was that. She did all the, she ticked all the boxes and that was that. And then I went into exile. Now, my dad had a wife. And I tell the story when people ask, what got you interested in theatre? And I tell this story. Yeah. I know I'm digressing.
Don't even worry.
And I tell this story of how when I was about 4 or 5 years old, I went to watch a play, Mthatha, of Gibson Kent. And I think it was Sikalo. I don't remember for sure. Because I've watched all of them since then, and the music and
the singing
and the singing. I used to sing those songs to my son when before you were born. I used to sing those those songs to my son, and so I don't remember which play it was.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting literally like this. At the bottom of the stage, like in the front row, and they were here and they were performing and they were big.
Whoa.
And they were amazing and I was drowning in it and I loved every minute of it. I walked out of there wanting not to be an actor, but I wanted I didn't think it was a power, but the energy that was flowing from them to me. Sure. I wanted to do that.
Wow.
that thing that they were doing, I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
And it took me going professional to learn that I could actually do this for a living. And so I go back now and I tell the story about how I got so passionate about performance from that age, and I didn't know. So that's Uwanana, who is my dad's wife, and which is why now I have 3 mothers. And I was telling this story, and she goes, "Oh yes, I remember we took you to that play." I'm like,
That was everything. That play was everything to you.
You were there.
Oh, you didn't even see her.
She was dating my dad.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's incredible, eh?
Right?
Yeah.
And so she's like, no, I was 4 years old when she joined our family.
And she settled in.
And she settled in and she just took over because her husband was my dad and now she's my mom. So that's that.
Jeez. Second mom.
Second mom.
Yeah.
And the third mom, who's the first mom, is the one who
Yes.
birthed me.
Yeah.
And because her mother was my mother, she was my big sister. And it took a while for her to earn the place of mom.
Really?
Because I had a mother.
Did she consciously work at getting that place?
No, I think she was just angry with me.
Well, you were not giving her the time of day. Oh, hell.
No, she was an imposter. She was like, you're my sister. What you doing?
Crazy. But at what stage in her life did she start appearing in front of you?
She was always present.
Yeah.
And so about 8 years old, I met my birth father. And I get to know him. And he was the most gorgeous man I'd ever seen in my life.
Whoa.
He was tall. He was handsome. He had these big hands that would just grab mine and I would fill in. I was so in love with him.
Ooh.
I was so in love with him.
Yes.
He was beautiful.
It's the love of a biological dad. There's something about it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So I remember it didn't matter where I was in the world, he would find me and I'd get a phone call. I was in boarding school, I was 13. I was in boarding school and I get called to the principal's office. I'm like, oh God, what did I do now? And then said, Mpumlwana. And Basotho, whatever, they don't want to say your name properly. That's a quotes. Last quotes. And then they call me into the principal's office and I get there and I'm shivering in my boots, and they point me to the phone and I pick up the phone. I said, whoa!
Yeah.
Hello? And it was my dad. It was my birth father. And he found me.
He found you.
Get to Canada and we're talking on the phone. I'm in my mother's house now because that's how I got to Canada. She took me there. And my first apartment
Which mother?
by myself.
Birth
mother.
If is.
First mother.
Yeah.
Mom. Okay, so there's mom. There's
mama.
mama. And Wanana. Wanana is now mama because the mama is passed on. And so I've moved out of my mom's house. I'm living in this 1-bedroom apartment downtown Winnipeg and I'm loving my life.
Hey.
I'm going to college. I'm like, I'm living on my student loan. I'm like, I got this.
Now comes this guy.
I'm working.
Ooh.
And not too many people know my phone number. I think mom knew my phone number, but even then I wasn't even calling her mom. Sis Fuyo knew my phone number.
Amazing.
I know,
Sis
right?
Fuyo.
I was obnoxious. Come on now.
Just a difficult child.
I wasn't being difficult. It was my reality. Now in retrospect, oh God, you were such a problem. I'm like, I know. But that's the luxury of being parented.
Yeah.
You can do those.
You don't see much.
You don't see.
Yeah.
And that's what I want for my kids. So here I am in my apartment. I'm sleeping in my 1-bedroom apartment in my bedroom. And the phone rings at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, bloody hell. Pick up the phone. Hello. Dandy. I'm like, hi. It's my dad.
Ooh.
How did he find me? So he just always had a way of finding me.
Is he still around?
He passed on in 2002.
Oh.
And that's why it's difficult for a man to make it with me because
the standard is so high.
the standard is very, very high.
What are your measurements? What are your top 5 measurements in relation to him, so to speak?
I will never fight for a man. I will never compete for a man. Once, if you and I are together and you're seeing somebody else, I'll let you go see that person.
Yeah.
And I'll leave.
Would you let me come back?
No.
Okay, just checking. If the door is open or closed forever.
No, it's not. No,
Yeah.
no. If you can disrespect me in that intimate way, you'll do it again.
That's for sure.
You'll do it again.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to hold a grudge against you. I'll be friends with you.
Yeah.
But you're no longer welcome here. So you can come here.
Yeah.
But you're not here.
Friend zone.
Yeah. Oh no, you have my respect and I'll continue to love you, but you're not welcome
not like
here.
That. Yeah.
You're not welcome here. No.
Jeez.
No.
Any other measurement? Because remember, we're living up to Daddy here. You're saying the standard is
find me.
Ooh, he found you all the time.
Didn't matter where I was.
Oh boy, that's like Superman.
He sought
stuff.
me out. He would just seek me out. As a result, I don't know how to chase a man.
Yeah.
I really don't. I will call you, and if you don't call me back, guess he's not interested.
Because Daddy always found you.
Daddy always found me.
That's Superman stuff, though. You even acknowledge how miraculous the whole thing was.
It was amazing. So I said, you know what? You've ruined me for other men. Because, but you know what? I've had great loves in my life.
Yeah.
And I remember one of them. I was in Canada, and I was amazing man. I acknowledged him, let him know that I was interested, and then I stepped back.
So he should.
Look, I'm a great believer that a man must hunt.
You should finish the project.
Men are built in there's a built-in thing that you want to hunt. If you put a lion in a cage and you feed it daily, it's not going to respect it like the meat.
You're changing its makeup.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not how it's done.
It's not how it's done.
Check.
I will open the door, but you gotta walk yourself in.
Yeah, like I can't come and fetch you and pull you in.
No. You gotta walk yourself in.
Yeah.
So so that's what I do. I will open the door, but if you don't walk yourself in, then. And after a certain time, I'll just close the door and move on.
Yeah.
It's the wrong guy.
I believe in that so much. When a girl is the one that's interested, I shut down. Like, there's nothing that's going to happen beyond that point. Yeah.
Because you're not hunting.
No.
You didn't earn it.
Allow me to be a man, dog. Can I
and it's not about physical power.
No.
It's about... I want you to hunt.
Yeah.
You're a hunter.
And a man wants to hunt.
And if you ain't hunting in my bush, I know you're hunting somewhere.
Oh, I like that theory. Yes, because a man will always be hunting.
Man will always hunt.
Oh, boy.
So if you ain't hunting in my bush, you're hunting somewhere.
You had to put it that simply. Got you.
So why am I chasing you when you're busy chasing somewhere else?
Yeah. Because it's pretty clear you're not interested.
You're not chasing me. This is not...
And even if I catch here, it won't be a catch. It
won't be a catch.
Yeah, it'll be
It's just a feeding.
That's it, exactly. Like the lion example.
Like the lion in the cage.
Yeah.
And the moment you open that cage, the gate, what's the lion going to do?
Yes.
If the lion did not walk itself into that cage, the moment you open the gate, it's going to bolt.
And go look.
And go
hunt. Go be natural.
Yeah.
That's a big lesson in all of this. A very giant lesson in all of this. Oh boy.
Oh, God.
Ladies, so you're saying ladies shouldn't because that's the real story, really.
Open the door.
Oh,
open the door, because we live in a time where sexual harassment is a thing. We live in a world where I know, because there is Thandi at home, and there's Mtandazo and all of that. But there's Nambitha, and people don't call me Nambitha, people call me Nambitha Mpumlwana.
Of course, name and surname.
Yeah.
It's the brand as a whole.
Yeah. So imagine being a man trying to climb that fence.
Whew.
So I will then open the opportunity for you, so that you know that it's okay to make...
Yeah, we can do this.
It's okay to make a move. Now, if after I've opened the door, you don't come chasing.
Sharp.
Of course, yeah.
Next time you come, the door is closed.
Shut. Because now you're not coming in now, because you're not knocking on the door because you want to come in. You're knocking because there's nothing else for you to do right now. Baby. I'm not a radio station.
You don't just change easily. I like that. Wow. Do you still get along with mommy? How's the relationship?
Oh yeah. I really value the women in my life. So my grandmother passed on in 2009.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to get over that.
Ooh.
I have my two mothers. I have Usisvuyo and I have Uwanana. And Uwanana is now the matriarch of the family. And so that is me giving her due. So she's Mama. And I make no bones about it. That is Mama. But also because she's actually been a mother in my life all along.
Yeah.
So in the same way that my dad said, I have been your father all along, that meant she's been my mother all along.
Throughout that entire time, essentially.
And then I started to look at the fact that we're in Lesotho. I would go on holidays into her family.
Ooh.
Or Mashologo, her family. And I had no idea.
That these were not your people, so to speak. That's a big one.
The March holidays, Easter holidays, like, first 3 months of school. And then you get to Easter holidays. So I've now been in this country for 3 months. I'm now fluent in Sesotho.
You caught on quickly.
I had no choice.
Yeah. Nobody speaks your language.
Nobody speaks my language. After 3 months, I discovered that there were South Africans in there.
You could have tried.
No. They were busy paddling as well, trying to every man for himself, every diva for herself. I learned, and so I went to this family at Easter, and it was her family. It was their connections. I did not know that they were guiding my life all along. I had no idea.
Jeez.
I only found out in that conversation. That's why that conversation was so important for me.
The fight conversation.
The fight.
Jeez.
The fight.
It took so much.
He wrestled me to the ground. Do you know that in the Bible there's a story of who's the man that was wrestling the angel the whole night?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Was it Jonah?
Jonah was
the whale.
Jonah is the whale. Jonah is the whale.
Gabriel.
Yeah. Okay.
He wrestled the angel the whole night. You will bless me. You will bless me. And it was that epic. It was that.
It was
epic.
important in your.
It was a defining moment in my life.
Yeah. And I look back at your career and the strength, because you're not just in J. You're the strength in you that we recognize almost immediately. And
Thank you.
And that's why I always go back to the people. And I like that you say it came from 3 people, essentially, the strength. But from the male source, what did you get from that? From Abotata in the surrounding?
So my grandfather, I come from a family of priests, and so it's a very religious environment and believers more than anything. So Utata would be the disciplinarian. Umama bethatha ifayiduku nje akubetha apha enhloko okanye akubamba apha kutswebe, and it was always an emotional thing, and then it ends.
Yes.
Utata was a priest, and he had the soft hair, which was grey, so he'd brush it with his hand and it would lay flat, and then he'd wrestle it and it would stand up, and it would that's what I remember about him. And that was his nervous habit, that was his thing. And he would be Lagamandla, which is our clan. Khawuhlale Zulu. Ndivile uba bekhona ingxabano ethile apha khona utata ndicela uxolo saze ndiphinde ndikufile mntana masicazulule, let's just go through it first. So what happened? So this one time, came back on our way back from school, we stole peaches from
You're just kids. We'll carry on.
No. Kamengale. The peaches were green.
Oh boy.
And then we went to one friend's house and we fried them.
Hey, my daughter. What was the goal?
I don't. So we could eat them because they were green.
You'll improve them by frying them?
So we fried the peaches, added some salt, and we ate them. Of course, apart from the fact that we had stomach cramps for the whole week.
Of course. That doesn't make sense.
They sent me to school with stomach cramps. Come on. So I don't know how my parents found out that we had stolen ipesika kwa khadi. Khadi wayethengisa amagwinya, ethengisa notywala. So the fact that siye kwa khadi in the first place, etywaleni.
Oh.
Seba, and we stole green peaches.
You were just criminals in this entire act. Ooh.
So we went through evening prayers, And then Utata called me aside and let everybody else to go to bed. Can we have a conversation? That. Hey, Zulu. You see, when the clan names start coming out, you know you're in trouble. Oh, mtanam. Do you feel about huh? And your opinion matters in these conversations.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
There's democracy.
Oh,
yes.
oh, no. There's no democracy.
Okay, well, there's open dialogue.
Democracy is on the other side of the gate. You can find it there, but not in here. Not here. But
yeah,
your voice will be heard.
You'll be heard.
You will be heard. So when I ask you a question, I want to hear the answer.
Yeah. I like your granddad already.
Calm the whole time. And then so we established that, yes, I did steal.
Mm-hmm. You confess?
What would make you do such a thing? Hey, Tata, Namandas. When I think about it, that's the truth. This is a moment that there's just no lying here. And he's like, okay. Well, hi, Tata,
wow.
We've talked about it and I forgive you. But we still have a problem.
Uh-oh.
There's a theft, and that means that theft needs to be dealt with.
Ooh.
So ndicela ke Dlangmandla uye kulaa mthi wepesika
Ayaya.
ongaphaya kwendlu sizolungisa le nto. We must fix this little issue that we've got here. So I believe if you go to that peach tree, you will find a stick that will fix this level of problem. I'll wait for you here.
Yeah. Didn't you at the point when
There's no yelling.
Didn't you think at that point with the, oh, this is good?
So now you know the tears are rolling down your eyes and you're like hoping for, compassion.
Or a small
compassion
stick.
And no, you go there and you bring...
pick the tiniest.
I know.
Of course, that's the trick.
And he'll go, Dlangmandla, do you think this is going to be sufficient? I haven't even started.
Yes,
you see?
It didn't work.
And you cry, oh God, I'm done. I've forgiven you. But we need a stick
to solve the theft.
To fix this little issue so that we never have this problem again. Ndiyacela mntana, ndiyacela. Mhlambi uba ngaba ukhangela pha phezulu and you direct it to the part of the tree where you're gonna find it.
Absolutely.
The promised. He never hit me in anger.
The moment was always good, so to speak. Pleasant, and if you use words like that. Well,
for whom? And when you walk out of there, there's no need for hugs.
No.
We're all at peace. We were solving a problem.
It's gone.
And it's so we're gonna do what? 10? Yeah, 10 lashes. Okay.
Yeah.
So you will get a sufficient stick.
You even agree to the number.
We have to.
How many do you want?
It's a conference. It's a meeting. And I go get a stick. And if I get one of those, and then
you test it. We had test.
He has to test it.
Get a bigger one.
Do I need to increase the number
of lashes?
Because you're disrespecting our agreement.
I dig him.
When it was time for me to discipline my own child, there was no peach tree. I had a mulberry tree outside my house.
Yeah.
But I didn't use that. I actually still have that belt in my house. And we would have a conference like we did with my...
Similar, yes.
Similar. And he'd beg and plead, oh, Mama, please, I'm so sorry. And I forgive you.
Yes.
But you must understand, my love for you is here. You and I have this problem.
Yeah.
So we're going to fix this problem, which is besides the love that we have for each other.
That is intact.
That is in place. But this situation needs to be sorted. How many lashes do you think we need to solve this problem?
You became so evil.
And he says 5. I'm like, 6.
We're negotiating now.
7, ma. 8.
Oh, you're still not agreeing. Oh, you became so
And you're like,
bad.
15. I'm like, Thank you for the offer.
Yeah.
But I think we can move from 15, say, 11?
Yeah.
But ma, I will never do it. Okay, fine. 10. So we agreed on 10? Okay, we agreed on 10. 1. But ma, I said, I'm sorry. I know, baby, and I forgive you.
Yes.
How many more?
You now count. Learn math
must
while
count.
you edit.
At some point, I think he was somewhere around 13 or 14.
Yeah.
He decided to grab the belt.
Whoa. He's bigger now.
So when he grabbed the belt, I was like, oh, Dlangamandla, I'm so sorry. I did not know we're fighting. He's like, Dlangamandla.
Well, let's do it
And I
now.
put the belt down.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
like,
do
yo,
this.
hi, he's like, Sbethane.
Jeez.
He says, Sbethane, ke mntanam. And he went, oh, and he wept. And he says, I'm sorry, ma. And he gave me the belt. I'm
They
like,
say, finish.
are you sure? And he goes, yes, use the belt. I'm like, okay. Where were we?
Do you know, it's the second time a corporal punishment, or not even corporal punishment, a beating punishment comes up in these conversations in this room. Because South Africa, our beautiful land. Let's show the whole world
That we can build peace in our land. South Africa, we love you.
I do that when I see dodgy moments about a country. I just acknowledge it for what it is. I was saying, I was beaten up as a child. You were. Most of the people in probably even earlier than the 70s, 60s, and until it stopped legally, so to speak, according to South African Constitution.
Did it?
Well, it did. They say
You sure about that?
young kids should not be beaten up at school. That's for sure. I don't know if it happens at homes and they call it harassment. What is it? Abuse if you do it at home.
I told my child
Yeah.
when that law came, I said, you know what, baby, I understand. You want to call the cops. Use my phone.
Yeah, while you edit.
I will dial 911 for you. But in the time that it takes for them to get here, you and I have a conversation to have.
Yeah.
And that conversation is going to be a leather conversation. By the time they come and arrest me, I'm good with it.
Yeah, I would
because
have...
you and I would have solved our problems. So what will it be?
Shoes.
With the cops or without the cops? Either way, this is going to happen. Be like... okay. Because if you remind your children that you're the parent in the conversation, then there is no disputing, but also you're the parent in your actions. Then there's no disputing. And when your friends come around, we don't call each other by our first names. This is Uncle Dave.
Yes.
This is Auntie Zoso.
Yes.
Do you understand? There will never be a day of Hi Suka Zoso. Because I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
So excuse us for a moment, please. We need to fix that.
Let's go talk.
Let's go and have a conversation. And it looks like it's going to have to be a leather conversation right now.
Jeez. It's about authority.
It's about authority.
Yeah.
And I want you to... And he's now 26 and he's kind of like, well, do you want me to do as you do or do as you say? I'm like...
Oh, I like him. He's old now, eh? How do you overcome those moments? Do as you do or do as you say?
Now, I made a decision, I think about 5 years ago, that I will not get into a fight again. Yeah. I fought before. I would argue with people, and sometimes, even raise my fist. And I think about 5 years ago, I said, I'm not gonna fight.
Not anymore.
No. Because most people that get into fights are idiots and they're going to beat you with experience anyway. So you're going to lose.
Yes.
So let me just leave it at that.
Yeah.
And so he's not seen me fighting with any. And so sometimes when he would argue with me, and I just back off and I just leave him. But once in a while, I'll pull him close, literally, physically. And I'll whisper in his face, no, you don't do that. Yeah. You will not do that. And the last time I did that, he went, okay, Mom. But you got to understand also, Buti, that singamaXhosa. Indoda yomXhosa, inkwenkwe inyuka intaba.
Yeah. And
indoda
comes back.
Yehla intaba. And once indoda yehlile intaba, as much as you continue to be his mother, but indoda ngoku, I may not hit him again.
Because now you're not hitting the boy. You're hitting the man.
I'm hitting a man. And that's something that singamaXhosa, we don't take very lightly. I remember having an interview with, can I mention a name? Aubrey on 702.
Yes, it's from my township.
Yes, I have a lot of respect for him. And up until that moment, I thought he and I were good friends. When that movie Ingleba came out,
I remember.
I was so offended. Now keep in mind, I was also a judge at the SAFTA, so I needed to judge this movie, and I could not watch it.
Did you ever get to watch it?
No.
Ooh.
I started to. I went into the theater, and when they started, I could feel, even as I'm discussing it now, my spirit is wounded. And I said, no, I can't. And I said, you know what? I will abstain.
Yeah.
I will abstain from the jury, from judging this one. Let me not. And they could not understand, because there were white people involved, there were other cultures. And I said, but as a Xhosa woman, I can't.
Yeah, this is my world.
No, besides that, and this is what I was trying to explain to Aubrey.
Yeah.
He says, but they're keeping women, it's an oppression, they're keeping women. And I said, no, you need to understand this. As a Xhosa woman, I have agreed to not know. But you should know, it's your child. I said, no, Buti. I agreed to not know. And you need to respect that. You need to respect. I'm not ignorant of what goes on in there. I choose not to know.
That's true.
If I chose to know, I would find out.
Yeah.
But I choose to not know. To such an extent, and Vangile was also taught to not discuss that with me.
So he hasn't done it, obviously.
He's never discussed it with me. I've never asked him about it. And that began a chapter of him having his own life and his own, not necessarily secrets, but his own turf and his own terrain.
Yeah. So there is the respect of this man, so to speak, runs deeper than just a little boy in your household. You have to respect the entire value chain that brings up this man. That it's a patriarchal society that you were born into, and you will respect it for what it is.
Do you remember when we were talking about Sean, and I was saying to you that she used to hold the pedestal for her man?
Yeah.
Most women do that.
Absolutely.
Now take a Xhosa woman. When your son goes up the mountain, everything that child eats is cooked by you.
In that trip, so to speak.
No, Putin, not the trip.
Yeah.
The duration of the time
they're there.
Yes.
Unxityiswa
nguwe. Everything he's wearing there.
It's all you.
You prepared. Every meal that he eats while he's there, you have prepared. When he comes down that mountain, the blanket that he's wearing, you bought.
Yes.
And when the whole ceremony is taking place, Namadoda and all of that, you are holding up this pedestal. And when he changes into new clothes that you have bought, and then brought into a community of women that you have gathered, I'm not oppressed, sir.
No. You are holding the pedestal.
I'm holding up this pedestal. Yeah. And don't you dare disrespect me by telling me I am deprived or...
You must know. It is during those conversations of the young men that pass away in all these, initiation schools.
Where was the mother?
Yeah, where was the mother?
Where was the mother? Not Amatota. Where was the mother? I was shooting Ashes to Ashes when my son was in the mountain, and I could not be there. So he was there with his cousin, my cousin's son. They're 4 days apart.
Okay.
And so it was good that they were there together. So she was physically there and cooking for them. And I gave the production a date that on this date, I don't care what is going on with the production, I am driving to Mthatha. I lost so much weight.
Sure.
Every dime that I was earning, I was sending there.
Jeez.
Just buy this, whatever. What else do they need now? What else do they? Every dime. And I saved enough money just to be able to travel down there. And I emptied my bank account. Keep in mind, when it comes down from the mountain, everything is new. Clothes, bedding,
Yes,
everything. Moved him to a new bedroom in the house, and everything is new.
Whoa.
Curtains, towels, shoes, everything. And then he just, he takes off everything and gives it to his younger siblings.
So he sheds off the boy.
He sheds the boy off.
Wow.
And he embraces the man. But who's dressing that man? This diva right here. So then, oh, look at her. That diva is like so on point. So I drove down to Mthatha, and I lost so much weight because I was struggling being away from my child for so long, doing something that I don't know, and as much as I've agreed, it still hurt.
True.
And now there's what we have in the house is the recipe that I created for him. I would make him garlic eggs,
Okay.
but prepared in a very specific way. And so when I got there, I said, let me make his breakfast. And I prepared him garlic eggs. And
He's back now.
No, he's still
Still
up
there. Okay.
Because my cousin sister
Yes.
has been
Looking
preparing,
after this,
looking after
yeah.
them. But she does not know this.
So
that day that I got there, I prepared the garlic eggs, put them as captain in, when they're taking their breakfast up to Ngalata. Ukhandi was there. And I said, give this to Budvangil and don't say anything. Just give him the food. So he gets there and he gives him the plate of food, and he opened it, goes, my mom is here.
Oh, that makes me so soft inside. My mom is here.
My mom is here. Yeah.
Jeez.
He knew.
The connection is so strong.
It's very important.
Yeah. There's a quote that I was given. It reads, you will never be criticized by someone doing more than you. You will always be criticized by someone doing less than you. Why do you even react to that quote?
Because I know where you got it from.
What inspired this? What is it about this quote that matters?
Because who sees you but the one who's behind you? And who do you see but the one who's ahead of you?
Yeah.
So there's also the thing, another one similar to that, is that the lion is not concerned about the views of the lamb.
No, too small.
So why do you bother yourself with people aspiring to be you? Why do you compete? And I say this to my son constantly when he looks at me and he wants to do what I do, compete with. And I say to him, I'm raising you to be better than me. So when you look at me, you will see less because I've conditioned you to be better.
That's it.
Do not compete with me. Do not see myself as your yardstick. See me as your platform.
As a step.
I am the platform on which you step to reach for the stars.
That's it.
I will not ever be on the same level as you. You will always rise above. And that's because I make sure that you're standing here. I make sure of that.
So
I'm not just allowing it, but I am insisting on it. So nobody who is behind you, let me just say, nobody who is ahead of you is looking at you. Nobody who's standing here is concerned about that.
No. They're looking up.
They're looking up.
Yeah. Or they're looking forward if they're ahead of you.
Or they're looking forward if they're ahead of you.
Yeah.
Watch any race. The moment you go, you've lost the race.
You slow yourself down.
You slow yourself down and you lose the race.
Yeah.
So now, my competition is ahead of me. Nobody behind me is thinking who's behind them.
No. They're thinking who's ahead of them.
What's the quote again?
You will never be criticized by someone doing more than you. You will always be criticized by someone doing less than you. Yeah.
Because they're looking for your flaws on how to beat you.
And slow you down.
Wow.
Because when this was brought to me, they said, this is an important quote. It has to do ne lento yamasdiva la yenzayo.
Do you know where that came from?
I'll tell you almost immediately, because you're asking me a question. You make reference to your grandma so much in this world of being this big, strong woman in your life. Where do you get the divaness that you speak of so much?
I'm grateful that you're calling it a divaness.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got in... Okay, so let me just take it even further back.
Go ahead.
I, being a thespian.
Hey. Yes.
An artist. Trained theater. Have had no respect for the soapies.
Whoa.
I do movies, I do drama. Soapies are for models and untalented people who couldn't cut it. Really.
Jeez, that's a strong position to take.
But that's the culture that I was trained in. That's all I knew, is that you go to a soapy to retire. That's really how I felt about it.
Yeah.
And so Generations calls and they trying to get me to work there, to come and audition, and I got called to go into Safe House. I was like, sorry.
Can't do that.
Can't. You be good though.
Was it at a time when people knew the power of Generations, when that call came up?
I guess so.
But you still said, nah, ngikren.
No, I want to be a soapy. I want to be in a soapy.
Yeah.
It's a soapy. Young and the Restless.
Bold and the Beautiful.
Bold and the Beautiful. Come on.
Not me.
I want to act, not recite lines. Come on.
Jeez.
So I went and did Safe House, and I was with Prajera Mufokeng, and I was telling him about it, and we were both laughing. Stayed in Cape Town for 8 weeks. Came back and I was like, okay, so what else is up? They're like, oh, good, you're back.
That thing.
So Generations, I'm like, didn't they cuss somebody already? I'm like, actually, no.
Yeah.
So I had a family meeting. My son and I sat down and I was like, so this is what they're asking. He goes, but Ma, it's a soap. And I'm like, we don't do soaps, because I'm a snob and I raised my son to be a snob. And then I said, well, my agent says I should give it a try. I said, okay, fine. So as I'm driving him to school, he was at Hyde Park High School at the time. We're running lines and he's reading the other character and I'm reading his character, and I'm driving him to school. Yeah. And after drop him off, I'm off to this audition. And I get there and I do the audition. It was like they were not paying attention to the audition. I'm like,
this is how it's done here.
Like I brought talent into this. I brought practice. I brought the thespian in here.
You didn't bring
and they're like, so he comes to me and goes, Ma, how did it go? I'm like, you know what, baby? Let's just look forward to the next drama. What movies are shooting? Let's go back to art thing.
Yeah, the arts.
Let's go back to the art. The next thing, these people, don't they cast me?
Mawande.
So now I try to make it really difficult for them. I demand this and I demand that. And they said, anything else? No, nothing else. Okay, good. Could you sign here, please? Because once you walk into the negotiating room, it's about what will bring you to put the signature down.
Yeah.
I made the mistake of walking into the negotiating room. But I said to them, I'm an actor. And this is a soapy. But Mama always said, wherever you go, baby, there you are. So that means if I walk into your space, I bring me.
True.
If I walk into that space, I bring me. Wherever I go, there I am. So that's what I did. When I got to Generations, I showed up at Generations and I showed up at Generations. I'm an actor and I'm a trained actor. And when you get a script, you interrogate it.
Yeah.
And you break it down. And you work it and you develop your character and you do all. So I do all those things that I would do in a movie, in a drama, and they were not used to anybody doing that.
You were doing too much.
They were used to people just saying the words.
Sure.
They were used to people receiving a Sotho script and translating it into isiXhosa. And I said, I actually run a business that translates scripts, and this is how much we charge.
Yeah. Can we do that here?
So if you want me to translate, this is how much you pay. Well, other actors, and I said, fire me.
Jeez.
Fire me.
Why did you... I've spoken to a lot of actors, and money becomes a common conversation, but you didn't seem like that was a deciding factor.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. It never was. You don't fight for money. There are times when I'm incredibly broke, but I have a really good life.
Yeah.
And I love that. And there are times when I have really plum money in my account and I'm miserable. So it never correlates.
Yes, and it's not about money.
I have to work on my happiness.
Yeah.
So I am an actor. I'm a trained actor, and I cannot, without betraying my soul, just regurgitate lines.
No.
I can't. I don't know how to do it.
How did they react to this new person?
Well, headlines, save us. They called me a prima donna at first. Do you remember?
That's the phrase that was used.
That was the first one. They called me a prima donna. And I was depressed. I came out on a Sunday and I have to go to work on Monday. So I spent the day in bed.
How did the news even go out?
There's always somebody. Yahlupa, in other words.
Yeah.
So I got, I saw the street polls, headlines, and then Sunday World, Sunday Sun, Prima Donna, Nambitha. And by the halfway through the day, and my son was lying in bed with me and consoling me because he was part of the decision to go there.
Yeah.
And now I'm weeping openly in front of him.
Sure.
And that's one of the things that I wanted him to know, that hurt hurts. But you get up.
Yeah.
So he saw me weeping and he was sitting there comforting me with his little hands. And then I sat up and I said, baby, give me a minute. Prima, David, means first. It's Latin for first.
Okay.
Donna means lady. God damn it, why am I sitting here crying? Come on now. All right.
I'm good.
First lady coming through. I walked into work the next day, like...
Nothing had taken you down.
Oh, come on. They've just elevated me to first lady. I said, listen, if you're going to call me a prima donna, you better genuflect.
Yes.
You better go on your knees because that's what you do when you see a first lady. They're like, okay. I didn't work.
That didn't work. I like that. It's like, we were trying to slow her down.
2 or 3 weeks later, save us from this diva.
Jeez.
Yeah.
But who are the main complainants in that context?
Cast, crew. Because little things. And so I must thank you for this. When my glass came before, it looked freshly washed. Now, do you see that the lips on my glass right now? That means somebody was drinking from it. Yeah. So we're rehearsing. Now, the first rule about rehearsal in theatre or in the acting world is what you do in the rehearsal, you will do on the take. So if I have a glass in the rehearsal, I'm teaching my body that when I say these words, I take
a sip.
So that the next time I say these words, I will take a sip.
That's it.
But even Dialingisa Sanjay, because the glass is dirty, it's not the right glass, and I do. Guess what I'm going to do on the take?
Same thing. Yes.
So they didn't understand that the mind of an actor is what you do in the rehearsal, you do in the take. So you must give me a clean glass. Even
in the rehearsal?
They said, no, I'll give it to you on the day. I'm like, no, this is the day.
Yeah.
This is the day. So the whole point of it was, now I'm teaching the crew how to treat me.
Yeah. Whoa. And that is seen as a diva.
But it is. But it is a diva.
Okay. But I think...
Now you say it like it's a bad thing.
No, I was about
Let me tell you what a diva is.
Okay, please go ahead.
It's a divine woman. It's a woman of divinity, integrity, virtuosity, and amazing at it all. Yeah. So now why would I be ashamed of such a thing? Please call me diva again.
Diva.
Yeah, baby. Do it again.
But you diva. Someone diva. But you do agree that, which is probably the prima donna context as well, that our lack of understanding of the language is probably what places us in this corner of thinking that we are pulling you down when we call you a prima donna, a diva.
Now,
Let
me take you back to my childhood. Remember, I told you that we're Christian people.
Yes.
That we're people of the we're believers.
Believers.
How did God bring the world into being?
Yeah.
With His word.
Yes.
The things around you. You yourself.
Absolutely.
Your being and everything that is about you. Now, why would the word hurt you? You can't hurt me with words. Come on.
No.
You can't hurt me with words.
There's a lot of worth in you for words to be the ones that destroy you.
Absolutely. All I have to do is look into the words. So I don't have to go into the Bible for it. I just have to listen to the words you're saying. And your intonation is irrelevant.
Yeah.
Because your intonation is your perception. Once you have put it out into the world, my receiving of it is based on my perception.
Yeah.
So you can spew your venom. It's up to me if I want to swallow it.
Or not.
Or not.
So that did not destroy you. It made you bigger.
So I took the diva. Oh, yeah. No, there was... So when I went back, I did an exclusive interview with Kosi, at Drum Magazine, and there were headlines like "Diva is back." So I put that on my just in the door of my dressing room.
Diva is back.
Diva is back. And my makeup artist was Natsika. I was like, "Hey, Diva," and she goes, "Hey, Diva."
You gotta love that, eh?
I was Diva from then on, and I said, "You know what? Thank you for calling me that." So I took all those bricks that they were throwing at me and I built Diva Nexus. And I now go around teaching women how to access the diva in them, how to be divas.
What is a diva in the context of an ordinary girl that works at Checkers that's struggling through her life?
Oh, diva, yes.
Yeah, that's struggling through her life, that has... boyfriend issues, baby daddy issues. The child is
How
what I mean?
old is your child?
No.
Let's decipher it.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to bring you to.
Yes.
How old is that child?
7, 6.
The child breastfed from whom?
From the diva.
Who dressed him for the first day of school?
Yeah.
Where's that child now? At school. Speaking what language? Answering what intelligent questions? Yeah. Because of whom? Hey, diva.
Hey.
And look at you standing there with your swollen feet, 5 hours into your shift with 7 hours to go, and you're still gonna do it. Hey, diva.
So we find divas in every corner of our life.
Every possible. But now, it's up to you to acknowledge yourself and not blame the next person for the circumstances that you've agreed to.
Let's go further. How does that lady with the child, swollen feet, struggle in the way they see themselves? How do you want them to see themselves in that context?
So at Diva Nexus, we acknowledge small victories.
Yeah.
Because when you wake up in the day, listen, I don't know if you've noticed that. You don't wake yourself up. God wakes you up.
Yeah.
Blessing number 1. Getting up is a choice. You got up. You woke up. No choice in the matter. Then you decided to get up. Listen, I could shake you from here till kingdom come.
If it's not time,
if it's not my time to wake up, you will not.
Yeah.
And I have low blood pressure, so I know this. My kids have woken me up, like shaken me, and I didn't know that they were in my room. And that's because I passed out and I was literally unconscious.
Yeah.
Low blood pressure. Now you know I have that.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, when God wakes you up, when God taps you on the shoulder and goes, David, it's time now.
Yeah.
And you wake up, then you decide if you're going to get up or not.
True.
Because you could stay in that bed. Then you make the choice and you go, your feet hit the ground. Now I say, Be the kind of woman that when your feet hit the ground, that the devil says, oh crap, she's up.
Damn it.
Damn it, things are going to get done.
Yeah. Jeez, I like that.
There's going to be accomplishment now. She's going to stand at that till for 12 hours. And, oh crap.
She's going to earn a living to look after
that child is going to grow up, be feeling loved. Oh crap. That's the devil's work.
Jeez.
But we don't acknowledge the devil. That's the only time we actually say, What we acknowledge are the small victories of, you've just survived a 12-hour shift. Please have a sip.
Hey, let's have this toast.
You know what you know what you just said, because we go diva and it's like, hey.
So I just gave you a diva reaction there.
Yeah, you just gave me the diva reaction. And you know, I will be like, I will be somewhere. And now, you know, I'm on on weekdays.
Weekends. Oh, is it weekdays?
You know, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Okay, yeah.
So I'll be like diva, and the room will go, hey.
You gotta love it. So I gave you a proper diva reaction.
You did. That's what I'm saying. It's like diva, and it goes with hey. Because you need to acknowledge yourself. The world is. There are so many. You know, when you're driving down the road, let's say it's at night, you can only see, and this I learned from Neil Donald Walsh.
Yeah.
And when he talks about faith, you are driving at 120 kilometers an hour, unless you're me.
Okay. Oh, wazukumela ngaphandle amaphoyisa.
And you're out there in the dark, and your lights can only see less than a kilometer away.
Yes.
And you're driving at 120 kilometers an hour around a bend.
So that means it's all faith.
It's all faith.
Yeah. That there's nothing on the other side.
It's all faith.
Or there's nothing beyond the kilometer.
Beyond that.
Kilometer that you can
it's
see.
It's less than a kilometer where you can see.
There's nothing
far
beyond
less.
that.
It's like 500 meters.
Uh-huh.
I think it's about 100 meters or so.
Yeah.
That's your reaction time.
Jeez.
That's faith. Do you understand? So when you've got all of that working for you, what are you afraid of?
Diva.
Hey. Do you understand?
I got you.
So when you get up in the morning, you've already been blessed with that.
Yeah.
Your eyes were popped open by a force beyond your control. And you put your feet on the ground and you go, and you feel the cold of the floor and I'm alive. Now, if you and me, you walk up to the mirror, because there's a mirror in there, and you're looking all disheveled and, you know, and you're like, oh, diva, let's fix that. And you get yourself in the shower and you get yourself sorted out. But when you leave that house, there are forces beyond your control and outside of your realm of imagination that are throwing stones at you so that you can fall, so that they can step on you to go further.
Sure.
And you are there just accomplishing. You're just there surviving.
Because you're looking forward.
You are just there succeeding.
Yeah.
You're just there being victorious. Do you understand? You're just there being diva.
Hey.
Why do you bother looking behind you? But when you are out there and they hit you and they claw at you and it happens, it could be anything at all. It could be you got lipstick on your teeth and they don't tell you and it's on camera and you're like, how diva? And they're like, hey.
You was born.
And you're like, okay.
You clean
and
it
now
up.
you clean your teeth in front of the camera because
Zoti.
I can't change it. I accept it. Now, what I did agree to, I go with.
Yes.
So we at Diva Nexus, we teach the woman to acknowledge the agreements that you've made with yourself and the world. And you acknowledge that and you accept that and you don't fight it.
No.
It may or may not be pleasant. It may or may not hurt. But when you acknowledge that I agreed to this, it's like inaliti, or when they're drawing blood.
Yes.
And you give them your arm and they put the needle there and it hurts.
Yeah.
You don't pull your arm back.
No, because you know what you're
because
doing.
you agreed.
To this, yeah.
You agreed.
Wow. That's an important part of this conversation, that you said it's okay, let's do this.
You said yes. You agreed. So when that man, and remember you're talking about the man that cheated on you.
Yeah.
He's cheated on. When he slaps you and you agree to go back, you agree that it's okay for him to slap you. So when he punches you now, it's just another version of hitting you.
That's true.
You agree.
And the hitting will probably get worse and worse.
You agreed, Diva.
Yeah.
It's up to you to put a stop to it.
Sure.
So we talk to women about acknowledging their space first, owning their environment, and then asserting themselves in their own. I'm not here to take your space. I'm here to take mine. So I don't need to crouch so that you can feel tall.
Yeah.
I don't need to be silent so that you can feel heard. You got yours.
We can all speak.
I got mine.
Yeah.
I did not.
No.
But also, and this is a conversation that I had with my son when he was about 5, 6 at school. And he came home and he was punished. And I said, what happened? And he said, the teacher punished me because I was talking in class. I'm like, well, did she tell you not to talk? He says, yes. So why did you talk? Because David said something and then I had to. Whoa. Is David a magician? What do you mean? Well, is David God, an angel? Like what magical powers does David possess? And he's looking all confused. I'm like, okay. Did David reach down your throat and tickle your vocal cords so that your voice could come out?
Yes.
He goes, no. So it's who made you talk?
Yeah.
David did. No. You just told me that David doesn't know how to make your voice work. So who made you talk? When he said, I did. And I said, that's why you got punished. Yeah. You spoke. You made the decision to speak. Just because David said something to you does not mean that you have to respond.
You have to respect.
You choose.
Yeah, you have to respect
yourself.
That's it. Yes.
You've made an agreement. Follow it through.
You're saying we don't, and I put men in the context because it's the same. Human
it's the
beings.
Devo.
There you go.
There you go.
because the moments always exist in our lives where we make decisions, good or bad. We choose those moments, and we choose the moments knowing the rules half the time. One of my latest complaints, and it makes me so anxious, is when I get to robots, because robots don't work in South Africa now. When I get to traffic sign and somebody
traffic lights. Okay.
Traffic lights.
Look, I heard robbers.
Robot.
You been in agreement with robbers?
No. In traffic
robot.
When I get to a robot now, I get nervous because nobody stops anymore.
Yeah.
And that's become the new thing.
Right.
And I realize that there is a moment of decision making that a lot of people are making without acknowledging the danger that comes with that.
Right.
Are you saying that most of us make the wrong decisions? Is it because we don't look at the entire picture, or we're ignorant to it, or we're saying, well, whatever happens, happens? What happens to a diva in a context where you can see what is that?
If I made the decision to come and sit here, then I've made the decision to come and sit here.
Yeah.
Then I further made the decision that while I'm sitting here, I'm going to be drinking this in camera. Now, if somebody says, you yasel Nambitha, and now yasel.
Yes.
And one yasel.
Yeah. There you go.
Cellaring.
Yeah.
Do you understand? But now, your intonation suggests that is not my truth. I don't have to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
I don't have to imbue it. I don't have to wear it.
That's yours to deal with. Yes.
Seven.
Absolutely.
Because bendisela, yes. But unbonile ndinxila. Andizibonanga ndinxila. So whatever your opinion is does not have to affect this space right here.
That's so true.
Now, you're talking about ufikile robot. And you kind of ufikile robot. And you just kind of slow down, look left, look right, and then you continue. Yeah. And then somebody came and they were driving fast and you did not see them.
They hit you. They did the same, so to speak.
You made the decision.
Yeah.
Accept your responsibility. Now, that person hit you. That's a legal thing. But for you to heal internally, you need to acknowledge that. Not dimbonile even if leyo,
Yeah.
ndimbonile and I decided not, maybe I could get good. He's gonna stop.
I'll drive faster, whatever.
Whatever.
Yes.
But I made that decision. It's a very painful thing to go through. Yeah. It really is. I'm not saying it's easy, but when you have to divvy up, you own yourself.
It comes with everything.
Because if I give responsibility for my well-being to you,
it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
You're saying you look after
me. And that's why falling in love is so difficult.
Yeah.
Because you're trusting somebody with your soul, your heart. Yeah. But whatever they do to hurt you, you have to take responsibility for it.
Because you agreed to this arrangement.
You agreed.
Hey, now you are testing us.
Now do you want to be in a relationship with me? I will let you off the hook, but just know that you can come back.
Yeah. Do we have a culture of taking accountability of our actions?
No, we don't. Not in South Africa, no. No, we don't. We have a culture of blame. We have a culture of, you see what you made me do. See what you made me do.
That doesn't even make sense. It's like your boy saying, "Oh, David made me speak."
Jan. Is he a magician or something? Like, is he God? Because God makes your voice work. David doesn't.
No.
God, through you, makes your voice work.
Do you find that culture permeates across other spaces in our lives as South Africans? And I use this reference because it's easy to say government. We use that phrase easily. Uti, I'm unemployed, and very quickly, the government is not helping us. And you find this person lost their job because they stole at work. and then the government is not helping us get work. That's why I ask about me saying, but this is my life. I need to do something about it.
I'm still waiting for men to come take care of me. So, David. We are raised in an environment where government is supposed to be the authority over our lives. That's worldwide. And government is expected to be good to a certain thing, to a certain level. When government is functional to this extent, then it trickles down, the functionality trickles down to, the lowest denominator.
True.
Do you understand? But if the lowest denominator does not hold the highest denominator to account by saying, yes, when Urongo, you will no longer represent me.
Yeah.
Which happens in most established and well-rounded and maybe older democracies. But our democracy is very young. Yeah. And we're still very emotional about it. And when I say that the Z word and that how my dad loved him. And I've been doing work with, this is my movie and in film life, this documentary that I've been working on with MK veterans.
Okay.
And the way that I went to do an interview in Cape Town, and this man is older than my dad. But he has been told by a higher ranking person in the army, with a higher, like you've got your sergeant, you've got you've got your lieutenant, and your general, and your lieutenant general, and he's been told by a general that Nambitha uyeza and she's going to have an interview with you.
Yeah.
What? Yes, sir.
Agreed.
The person who gave that command is younger than me.
You.
And the person I'm going to interview is older than my dad.
Jeez.
But when I walked in, and as introducer, he treats me with the respect of that person that sent me.
Yeah, got you.
I was so embarrassed. I don't know what to say. And that's because I was raised to acknowledge the cultural hierarchy, and he's got a hierarchy from a different sphere altogether, from army, which I do not understand. And I'm like scratching my head. I'm like,
how do I address you?
Then maniphatela umqombothi, and I'm allergic to it.
Oh, really?
Azange ndawusela umqombothi.
That looks disrespectful.
Because I'm trying to equalize.
Yeah.
Dawusela umqombothi sihlele ebuhlanti wathi no ulitolo and kwamatolo ekhaya so uyakwazi uba sebuhlanti, which allowed the Xhosa woman in me to not cover myself ndibe khona ebuhlanti, and then bandinika umqombothi ndethi Nkosi yam. Dawusela, I'm allergic to it. Dawusela umqombothi. Then went back and took antihistamines after that. But I needed to show him respect because he's saluting me because of the person who sent me.
Eish.
Do you understand? And I sat there with this man and I talked to him about his life and I watched. There is a rigidity and there's, you know, when I was talking about my dad saluting Uzuma because he was head of intelligence.
Yeah.
When
his rank was higher.
His rank was higher.
Yeah.
Not because he's right. And I'm not saying he's wrong, camera, you got me? Because they are trained to salute the higher rank. That's it.
Yeah.
And so when the commander-in-chief says go left, that they go left. And amongst them, they're like, hey, don't lose.
Yeah. But Utes Chiga left.
While Bechika left, but they're doing it.
Yeah. We see that so much in the movies where it's like, I don't agree with that order, but hey, it's the order from a high-ranking officer.
There's that. And then there's a common sense. And I'm not disrespecting that because I was raised with that.
Yeah.
So I will never, ever be disrespectful of it. And so what I was saying to you is that in the research that I've been doing for this documentary and this movie that I'm working on about the soldiers, it literally trickles down to society where umama, I was in Canada at the time in 1984. Did Mama, are you going to vote for the first time? And she's like in her 80s, 90s.
Sure.
So, Ma, you're going to vote. Uzovotela bani? Umandela kaloku.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's not confusing.
Njani? Kunini simlwela? We've been fighting for Mandela and now he's here, so we vote for him.
Yeah.
It's logical. This is who we are.
Yeah.
And then I had to question myself, why did you ask that question? We was phoxisa mvakabawo. Do you understand, Ukuthi? This is who we are.
Yeah.
Now, that was that era. We need now to hold them accountable in a different way. But some of us are still respectful of that old way, and some of us are, like fighting that old way, but not in a way that is going to win over those other people.
That's it.
And hence
Eish.
That's my take on it.
No, yeah, because it's such a tricky one, eh? And you described it so well. Protocol. That's why we observe protocol in certain meetings.
You're left, right. Come on.
That's what it is. Eh?
Yeah.
You respect protocol. You respect rank. You respect the elder amongst you. The hierarchy of age.
That's how we raised.
Yes.
That's how we raised. My son and I will argue up to a point, and if he continues after a point, I will keep quiet.
Oh.
Because I will not be talked to that way. I will allow you to raise your voice to a certain point, then diahotla.
Yeah.
It's up to me to step back. If you feel that you can continue, that's your journey. I'm not available for that.
No. You carry on.
You carry on. I'm not available for that. You avail yourself to abuse. You avail yourself to scrutiny and all of these things that we then complain about.
I learned this lesson many years ago. I was at varsity and I was served at a canteen at school. And this gentleman who works there was working alongside the owner of the shop. And he said to him, he gave the wrong order, this guy, behind the counter. And he said, but you can't do that. And he spoke quite loud. And the young man said, you're embarrassing me. And he said, I'm not. No one can ever embarrass you. You choose to be in those positions. He gave him an example. He said, if somebody walks naked next to you or decides to take off their clothes next to you, you are the one that choose to be next to them. Never say they are embarrassing you. You are the one who's choosing to be embarrassed. So
by their nakedness.
By their nakedness. So it's so when you say it that
so
way,
you can choose, Nobana,
to be there or not.
But also, you're being corrected. Were you wrong?
That's the question.
Now, if you love yourself, you go, You're right. I was wrong. Sorry. Listen, I'm sorry.
Let's correct
Let's
it.
start again.
Yeah.
Wistin,
What? You're embarrassing me.
that's loving yourself. You love yourself in spite of yourself.
Yeah.
But now when you are being embarrassed by yourself,
Ooh.
who are you going to accept?
Because you live with you. You have to accept yourself first all the time.
One of my babies I was talking to the other day, he's had like a really, really difficult last couple of years. And he's been using our dad's death as his boo-hoo-hoo moment. That him now we all lost him. Bring something else. And it was like, and then I failed at school. I said, because you wouldn't study, bring something else. Yeah. And I said, let me give you a list, because I kept the list.
This is
a list of the things that you, what about this one? And then I said, okay, now that we've gone through the list, who do you choose to be?
Yeah.
What do you choose to take forward from this moment? Not this day, but this moment. When you get up from this room where we're sitting now and talking, what do you choose to take with you? Who are you going to be? What are you going to love about yourself? And what are you going to deny yourself of?
Jeez.
I'm going to deny myself of the opportunity to be abused.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop availing myself to drunk parties. You know, I'm no longer going to be, I'm no longer going to attend every argument that I'm invited to. So they're going to call me a snob. Okay, I'm going to call myself a snob so that they don't have the opportunity to offend me with that word.
Yes.
Anything else?
Yeah.
Because it's just words. The way that I was formed into this world and the world around me was through the word. You can't hurt me with words. Come on now, try something else. Try something else.
I didn't realize this would be a masterclass on life.
Tell me about your wife.
I don't have one.
Do you have children?
I don't.
There's something that happened to me. I've always loved kids. And you know what? I must say this on record. There are women that will say, oh, I love my nephew like it was my own child. I'm like, no, you don't. I love my dog like it was my own child. I'm like, no, you don't.
Yes.
Because unless you have a child, until you've had a child, you don't know what that feels like.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you don't love them to your capacity. I'm just saying you don't love them like they were your own
child. That's true.
Now, Umama has never birthed any children, but I don't doubt her love for me. I really don't.
Yeah.
I know she loves me. She shows me and I see her love for me in the way that it reflects on me, in the way that I love her.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Got you.
So people who have not birthed are completely capable of love and immense love. It's when you say, as if they were my own, that I say
that statement.
Statement I dispute, because I loved children until I birthed my son, and I went, oh,
this is different.
This is something else. There was a level of viciousness that I did not know I could possess.
Whoa, explain.
Have you ever seen a lioness when you approach their cub? Even if it's the father of that cub, they will rip their throat out.
Yeah.
And I tell my kids, and I've got adult children in my household, and I had to remind my niece that you are my message to the future, and I need to protect that.
Yeah.
So when I have not birthed or I have not raised a child, I've missed that opportunity.
That's true. That's me.
No, not yet. You've got somebody in your life that can still give you that. However, if the two of you choose not to go that way, there's your niece and nephew right there.
I'm aware.
There's your message to the future.
No, I'm aware. Sometimes.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Sometimes I'm a bit too bully. I want the message to be loud, so they know what I mean. That's it's not easy. It's not. I know. I've had 12, 13, 14 employees at some point. Everyone younger than me. I've always had the older, almost father figure role for a long, long time in my life.
Yeah.
I've always been aware of it. and I can't ignore it because it's there. It's a reality of my life. And I sometimes overdo it, but I realize that if I don't, nobody else will.
Yeah.
Because I never got that. I was raised only by my mom. There was never a father
I
figure.
don't say only.
Well, I say only. There were a lot of people around us, yes, but there was no man and the sound of a man my entire life. And even till today, there was no sound of a male voice in my surrounding. My
Your grandfather?
No, I was born into a household that the grandfather was long past by then.
Uncles?
They were in and out. They were never a permanent feature. And they, by uncle, by a bagash and by a hamba, they don't stay more than a minute.
At the beginning of our conversation, I mentioned to you, Kuti, Mphatisi passed away in
2020.
2020.
Yeah.
Mphatisi, I'm born in 67, he was born in 71. And the relationship that he and I had when we were kids was very strange because he was going to English schools and I was not. And then something changed. Even though we were like worlds apart, somehow we just found each other. And then when I came back into the country, it just went and just like clicked. His friends became my friends, like Abo Doctor, Abo Bob Mapena. Those were his best friends.
Yes.
So when we meet, it's like, it's an emotional thing because those were my first friends when I came back into South Africa, and Papa was responsible for that.
Yeah.
So now, up in the back as a corn. Oh, Mphatisi, when I had my son, I called him and I said, the father is not going to be in the picture. So I've got 2 godfathers, but I need you there. And he says, okay. So whatever opportunity he had, he would bring Vangile in, bring him in. And sometimes I would just like, hey, we're in town.
Let's do it, yes.
Yeah. So Vangile actually I've literally forced
men
into his life. So he and Vangile had this show. They call each other Slo. Hey, Slo. Hey,
what is
Slo.
it? From what?
Slo. I don't know.
Maybe. You actually don't know.
Well, which probably is the reason why the next thing that I'm going to tell you about happened. So I picked up the phone and it's usually like Kush, Kushini, like my bro,
Yes.
And I picked up the phone and talked to him and like, hey, hey, I'm going to show up. I was like,
oh, you're not part of the clan. No, wins on up. Oh, no, you didn't know. You were not invited. How did that sit with
it hurt.
You were not invited.
Because So was between him
Yeah.
and his nephew, and I'm not part of that relationship.
That's the end of it.
And it hurt.
But you got it.
But I got it. I never did it again.
So
I learned my lesson.
I'll call you So, don't worry.
Thank you. Hey, So.
Diva So. We'll call all of them together.
Diva So.
Wow.
But it said to me, this is my space with your son, with my nephew. You're not part of it.
Yeah.
And they had their own relationship. Like, Papa and I were very close, really, really close. But what happened with him and my son, I was not party to.
Yes.
And I had agreed to that. And when I trespassed in there, I was called to order very quickly. And that's what my family is like. We very direct, like, Ngade.
But the introduction of man, clearly a deliberate act to your son. Surely you recognize the importance of it in a boy's life.
Yeah.
Because
I just didn't know I was trespassing.
Yeah, well, that's true. But what have you noticed about that introduction of these strong male figures in your boy's life?
I have raised a man, and I made the decision that I did not want to find out what a man would be like without a male role model.
Yeah.
Therefore, I can happily say, I don't know.
And you didn't want to know.
I did not want to know.
But the results of what you've done are positive. of your actions in this regard.
It's taken away. I was about to say disempowered, and I was like, no, you're not disempowered. You are differently powered.
You have your role.
You agreed. And who sings the song? Wow, Vumile.
Yes. So you agreed.
I agreed. So I may not be upset about it. I may not be hurt by it. I agreed to it.
It doesn't in any way diminish your role.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
And, going back to Diva Nexus, it is about the agreements that we make. And when we dissect the different agreements that we make within ourselves, when, for example, I was to come here, I realized that I had so much time, and I had said to myself, Jonga, as much as we're supposed to be at 4:00, we will be there. If the interview is supposed to start at 4, don't allow yourself to show up at 4.
Yeah.
Because you're late when you show up at 4.
That's true.
It's wrong. So now when I find myself at 2:00 on the other side of town, I'm not going to make at 3:00 or 3:30. 3:30 pick up time from that end. It's not going to make.
You had to decide and make a decision.
Yeah. So I'm going to be early, and I'm going to be okay with it.
And you were.
I was early, and I did not make it anybody's problem.
Well, I made it my problem. Don't worry. When I got the call,
that was your decision.
My decision. When I got the call and I was still at the SABC, it's like, I'm in trouble here.
But I was very because I knew that I was early.
No, I was told that no, she's fine. Don't worry. You surround yourself with young people. What's the benefit in that?
I don't deliberately surround myself with young people. And I remember looking at my circles, and I said, why do you only have subordinates around you? And that was a harsh question to get from somebody that I love so much. Moi.
Me to me.
And I said, I don't know. And then I had to interrogate it. It took me a few days.
Yeah.
Throughout my career, remember at the beginning, earlier in our conversation, I told you about when I went professional, I moved to Toronto.
Yes.
I was literally encased in this womb of womanhood. And these women that have been where I want to go, and they have been part of this world that I want to be a part of, and they literally cradled me.
Yeah.
And in the same way that when I first experienced theater, I wanted to pass on that feeling that I was receiving.
Jeez.
I literally wanted what I was feeling now to pass it on to others. And so I think, and of course, Umama was a teacher. My grandmother was a teacher, was an educator. And I want to say an educator because she didn't just teach in the classroom. She was educating us around her. And so that has always been in me. I did not choose Ndobana. I don't want to be around people my own age. I've also discovered that a lot of my close relationships are with people that are younger than me. Like my best friends are, like Sonny is like close to like 8 years younger than me.
Jeez.
Lydia, these are my best friends, like 3 best friends. Lydia is like close to 10 years younger than me.
Jeez.
Phil is definitely more than 10 years younger than me. And these are like my closest friends.
Yeah.
Outside of my family. And so the educator in me wants to impart knowledge, but I'm not looking to parent somebody else's child. But it would be such a shame, all the knowledge that I have, for it not to be utilized elsewhere.
That's true.
And I think that's what you're doing as well, isn't it?
Yeah. I call it the burden of...
You gotta pass it on. You gotta send the ladder down.
Yeah, the burden of knowledge and you're carrying it with you all the time, and you know these things because you've gone through the journey yourself. You feel immediately that you have to give this to somebody, and particularly when you see them make the mistakes that you made, you say, "Whoa, left, not right."
But it's not just young people. One of my closest industry friends, Ntati
Yes,
Mushesh,
yes, yeah.
and I hope you will have her here.
I get more no's than yeses, but let's carry on. Don't worry.
I know. I understand why. I got to know Ntati from going to auditions. And I'll go to an audition and they would filter down. You know, you get the first audition where they're looking at 30 people and then they're looking at 10 people. And then they're looking at 5 people and then they're looking at 2 people.
The last 2.
And the last 2 is always she and I.
Oh. That's not cool.
No, actually not.
Did you develop a rivalry?
We developed a friendship.
Hey, look at that.
Because remember where I was trained in Canada? That I don't compete with you. We're both going for the same job. Now, I can never be you and you can never be me. If they're looking for you, they'll take you. If they're looking for me, they'll take me. So Ntati and I think it may have been that, you know, at the beginning, and I cannot say this without fear of contradiction, it may have been a bit uncomfortable for her at first, but it turns out it would be at Krista Schamberger Young's audition space. And here we are. And it's the 2 of us, and we're both going for the same character.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, okay, let's run lines. I'll hold the script and I'll read the other part. And you rehearse. Okay, now you do.
And you're going for the same character.
We're going for the same character.
So unusual, I must tell you.
But I learned that in Canada, in that my role is mine and your role is yours.
Yeah. They'll take you if it's you.
My blessing is mine, and your blessing is yours.
Wow.
And you don't compete for love. Don't compete for love. David, if you love me, that's it. But if you love her, that's it.
Yeah.
You know, I cannot be
There's nothing
else.
You can't feed me to a point where I love you more. You can't dance to a point where I love you more.
That's why I don't chase men.
Yeah. There's nothing you can do. Wow. So empowering. Do you remember your character names? All of them?
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah.
Sevendila?
Zandile.
Ashes to Ashes?
Mandlakas.
Diamond Hunters? Got you. Got you.
No. I was a prostitute. So I didn't have my name. Hang on.
I can understand if you were not called by that name, but let's try.
I think she was Desiree.
You are close, but not quite.
What was her name?
You are this close. Dara.
Okay.
I know I sound like I have researched this information in printed. That's how much it is. Interrogation room?
Square.
Jeez. Is it Dingo?
Isidingo was a long time ago. I think it was a family name. I think it was like Tando or something.
Try.
No, I don't remember Isidingo.
Nancy, that's the name.
Was that Nancy?
Yes. Generations, that's obvious.
No.
Isn't it?
I played Mawanda now, but before that I played a psychologist.
Oh.
And she didn't have a name.
She was a dog, Tanje.
But then they wanted to grow the character. And then I said, okay, fine, if you're gonna. So they offered me a contract. They offered me a 5-year contract on Generation.
For that role?
Yeah, for the psychologist. And they were gonna grow her and then build her family around her and that sort of thing.
Okay.
And I said, well, I don't like soaps. And at the time I was doing a play at the Market Theatre. And they kept showing up with scripts. I'm like, it's a soap.
I'm not taking you serious.
I accepted it because my son was a newborn and I needed extra money.
That's the reason.
That's the only reason. I was like, and they kept saying, I said, it's a soap.
But
that's when I met Brenda Fassi, because I was like stinting at Generations, and I was playing the psychologist, and I don't remember.
It didn't last very long, that role.
No, it didn't last because when they offered me the 5-year contract, and I told them what my fee is, and they said, well, it's more than what Connie's earning. And I said, like, I don't know who Connie is.
Who's Connie?
I don't know who she is.
Jeez, I like that assertiveness about it. Shadows, I
played Shadow.
Of course. So Cool and Partners.
Oh my gosh, I don't remember the character. I just remember enjoying Lindy. That's where I met Lindy Sokulu.
Oh.
Linda Sokulu.
Yes.
And the her character was she was playing in Sokulu's Partners, and she was Linda Sokulu.
Oh,
and that's when I formed my relationship with her. Oh my God, what a superb human being! What an amazing human being! Yeah.
The character name?
I don't know.
to me, CBC. Yeah, you don't even know it.
It was a featured extra.
Yes. The lab.
The lab Peluzipo.
Ah, you remember? Now here's one. Yizo.
Grace Lizards.
Jeez, you remembered. Such a long time ago.
I know, right?
I didn't think you'll remember that.
It's different. It's all these people that are living inside of me.
And they're still there in some form.
And I have to put myself in the classroom. Grace Lizards. okay.
Yes.
When you said the lab, I'm like, put myself on set. Okay, there it is. There she is. But when you said Sokulu and Partners, I could only see myself in the green room.
Yeah, you didn't see the
set. No, I didn't see the set.
That's so interesting.
I was in the green room chatting with Linda.
Do you know, I've played this thing with musicians, and I play the first 4 seconds of their song. It's the most amazing thing how musicians know.
Then they'll tell you what the song is.
Yeah, they know it.
Yeah, because it tickles, it hits something, and we're like, is that all? Is that your list?
No, well, that's the list I have. I know there's more. There's Abo Tsotsi and Country of My Skull, but I don't know the character names. It's my fault, not yours. I'm the problem, not you. What is it? Red Dust?
Red Dust. I played I was on a panel of judges.
Yes.
But let me tell you what my experience was on Red Dust.
Yeah.
One of the things that I learned that I would take to my grave. Hilary Swank walks into the room where we're reading the script.
Okay.
And we've been told that Chiwetel Ejiofor is going to be here and Hilary Swank is going to be the lead. And she comes in and literally she goes, "Hi, I'm Hilary. Hi, I'm Hilary. Hi, I'm Hilary." Hi.
Every single one.
Every single person. And she waits for you to say your name. Wow. I have done that since then.
Whoa.
I will not assume that you know who I am, and I will not assume that your name doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
Ever.
That's incredible.
Ever. And it just clicked in my head and was like, okay. So each time that I've been on every set, I've grown in this way, and I've learned that, and I've taken that from that. With Angelina Jolie, she was receiving Maddox when we were on set together. And that's the time that my dad passed, my father passed away. Yeah. And we're talking about, I was getting ready to get married, and we're talking about my son. And she goes, "Where is he?" I'm like, "He's with my mom." She goes, "Why?" I'm like, "Because I'm here." She goes, "My son is coming." I'm like, "Huh?"
Yeah.
"No, they're preparing, my son is coming." I'm like, "Why isn't your child coming?" I went, "What did you agree to?
Yeah.
Why isn't your child coming?" I went and interrogated myself, came back the next day, went and told the production that my son is 6 years old, and I would like him to come back with me. I'm going to go bury my father. They literally paid for everything when my father died. They paid for everything. They paid, and Phil Mayhew said to me, "I want a happy actor on my set."
Yeah.
So I will suspend all your scenes, go and bury your father, come back with your child, and then be present on set.
Yeah.
Because the day my father died, I showed up on set and I was drenched in tears. They were putting makeup on me and I was just drenched.
Jeez.
I'm fine.
Yeah, I can do this.
Get the heck out of here.
Yeah, you're wasting production time.
Get her out of here. Fly her out. They paid for my flight. They rented me a car. just go bury your father. And I went and buried my father. Came back
with your son.
They bought my return ticket. And they bought his ticket, which was a return ticket to Joburg. I promise you. And when I came back, they had prepared a classroom for him so that during the day here in Maddox, Angelina's son, were being schooled in the mornings, and in the afternoon he lived in my trailer and then they had a tent built for them, all the kids on set, because other crew brought their kids, and they all watched movies in the tent in the afternoon. This is looking. You know what? When you look after my child, you got 12 hours is nothing. I'll give you 12. I'll give you 40. I'll give you.
Yeah, and I'll be happy to be here.
I'll be here.
Wow. There's a lot said
and that's what we
there.
did.
There's a lot said there because I've spoken to very unhappy, and I use the phrase unhappy deliberately, and I apologize if that's not their state of mind now. Unhappy actors and actresses, and whose the industry hasn't been particularly
actors
kind
who've
to.
had unhappy experiences.
That's really how to phrase it.
Yeah.
Yes, whose reflection to the work is not particularly rosy, and
that's sad.
Yes, and I look at you, and your experiences are joyous in their approach. Even the worst moments, when you were called a diva and prima donna, you got the best out of those moments as well.
I built the House of Diva.
You did.
I built Diva Nexus. Diva Nexus right now teaches other women to be a problem.
Explain that. Explain that.
How problematic is a woman who loves herself and does not need your affirmation?
Yeah, that's true.
Because the world keeps us on high heels where we have to balance ourselves on something so thin. But if I get comfortable in that thin stiletto and I push myself up and I grace myself and I embrace myself with confidence and love, now what?
Yeah. Ngeke ungitshele.
Uzandenzani?
Jeez.
Uzandenzani? And you need to understand that my happiness does not wish unhappiness for you. It just means I'm happy.
Is it easy for someone to look at Diva Nexus and all your efforts as a feminist movement?
I don't care what they call it.
Yeah.
I really do not care what they call it. Let me tell you why. I call it an affirmation movement. It's a woman empowerment program. It's a movement that empowers. And our slogan is unleash the diva within. Not, I'm going to teach you how to be a diva. I said, unleash the one that's already in there.
Yes.
Because every woman in the world is born with diva in them.
Yeah.
Every one of us. And every man has got a little bit of a diva in them. But the thing about it is that men are affirmed on a daily basis. White people are affirmed on a daily basis. Men and women. Look, the hierarchy is white men, white woman, black men, black woman. We're at the bottom. Yeah. And if I find a little bit of joy for myself, why should it threaten you? I'm at the bottom of the state of the totem pole. Come on. Yes. What more do you need?
So it's easy for the first, second, or third to feel like you're trying to take their place just by empowering yourself.
By loving myself?
Yeah.
What, do you need me to hate myself in order for you to feel important? How small are you?
Ooh.
Do you understand?
Got you.
How small are you that you need me to hate myself in order for you to feel good about yourself?
Yeah.
Like you must even do this. You already are considered more important. You get paid more. I mean, Patrick Shai, do you remember I was telling you, he and I had this beautiful... Patrick, and he understood this without us having to discuss it. I remember, being of Jewish faith, I do not work on Saturdays. It's Shabbat.
Yes.
But Patrick is the one who negotiated that we don't work on Saturdays.
Because he understood that.
He also understood that he had the authority to not be judged for saying, I don't work weekends.
As a man.
But if I'd said, I don't work weekends, then it would have been a problem on set.
Huh. Wow.
But he looked at me and I said, Shashai, it's Shabbat. And he went, And then we went into discussion and he said, I don't work weekends.
I like him. Because he was doing it for you, not for him.
Do you understand why I love that man?
I got you.
He was my shield. He was my anchor. He was my man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has this been an ideal career for you? You wouldn't have flipped a coin for anything else.
I studied computer programming. I used to program for account packages. So I created programs for accounting, which meant that I did numbers as well.
That's it.
I studied that. I studied psychology throughout. So when I went to university, I could not major in theater, so I majored in psychology and minored in theater.
Okay.
I continued to study psychology. I still do that. I continued to, and then I was just way too frustrated with it when I couldn't get into the director's program. So then I went to go and start computerized accounting, program computers, and I did that. And then finally I was like, Nambitha, you're frustrated. You're not happy. So I went professional. In 1989, I went professional. And this was after 4 years of doing this and doing that, because I graduated high school in 85. 89, I moved to Toronto, and I started working as an actor. And I was singing in a band, and I was acting, but I was among South Africans, so it was okay. And I have not looked back.
Jeez.
Not one single day.
Yeah.
Not one single day.
No, not one single, I could have. Nothing.
Nothing. I didn't know that I could do this for a living. That was a big education for me. Again, remember I told you that I had these women that just cradled me and taught me how to be around this. And then I found out they were gay.
Not a big deal.
No, it didn't change anything.
No.
I was like, I think there were gay people there.
It's still a funny story. It's like, really?
And Margaret was like, you think so? How do you know? I'm like,
It is the funniest story. It's like you've been around gay people all this time you didn't realize.
I had no idea. But it was the most beautiful, beautiful experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I really wouldn't. I really wouldn't.
And you wouldn't trade what your career has given you for anything.
Not for anything.
Yeah.
My son is an industry brat.
Yes.
He's been when he was born, I just said, listen, you're joining my life. You're not changing it, because I'm cool with it. So you just like hop on board. He's been to every set that I've ever worked on.
Jeez.
Every set. Every set. The only set that he didn't step on was Safe House, because he was here in Joburg and I was in Cape Town. That's the only set that he did. No, he did visit. Has
he become part? Because very often when a child grows up in this environment, he ends up trying it out.
So our agreement with my son and I was that if you decide that you want to be in this industry, you will become the person who pays the person, who pays the person, who pays the person, who pays the person, who pays the actor.
Done. So you are right up there. Yeah. You own the production company.
No. You own the person who owns the production company.
I like that. Oh, you own the broadcaster. You own Netflix. You might as well.
Okay.
There is a Netflix project that you've done.
Yeah.
And it's not long ago.
There are actually two, but one isn't out yet.
Oh, okay. What is the first one? Let me check my notes quickly.
You're probably thinking of Happy Family.
Yes, I am.
Isn't it lovely? So Elvis Chooks is... He and I get into so many fights. He's one of the few people that he and I fight like cats and dogs, but we love each other. I don't know what I want to say. I struggle with the ability to shut my mouth.
Yeah.
I won't lie to you. No, really. I won't lie to you. I will not lie to you. I'd rather not say anything to you. And that's a rule in my household. If you ain't got nothing good to say nothing.
It's easier.
So if you feel that you cannot tell me the truth, don't answer me.
That's it.
Just say, don't answer me.
Yeah.
And I will respect that. I agree to respect that. So my son and I were like, so David, what color under are you wearing? And you go, all right, come on. I'm like, okay. You're not going to tell me? No, I'm not. Oh, okay.
That's Sishinjad.
Sishinjad.
Yeah.
Nobody's been hurt. And so we then come, those are the agreements. Remember, we've been talking about the agreements. And that's what we agree to. Kuti, we don't lie to each other. We just, hayi ngicela uyeke. Hayi andizokwazi uyiphendula le. Njani? Hayi andizokwazi. Okay.
Yongihlula le.
Hayi andhlula le.
Jeez.
Because I don't want you to know what I'm thinking, and I don't want to lie to you.
But you work together. You work well together.
With my son.
Yes.
So he actually, because I said that he must be the person that plays the person, etc. But when hey David, I'm going to share this with you. So Uvangile, he's like 2 years old, and I'm full bed, but I want to punish him. So I put him in the corner, and I say, listen, your behavior means that you should not be around other humans right now. So I am isolating you. Facing the corner. And my son is like, I'm like, what the heck is going on in there?
Yes.
My son has had angels singing in his ears since he was born. You could live, you know how other kids suck their thumbs? No, my son would be like this.
He's hearing music.
He's hearing music.
Wow.
So when he's like 5, 6 years old, I'm playing music in the car, but then I'd get out of the car and take the key with me, and
he's still bobbing.
Like, what the heck is going on in there?
Yes.
Like, what the heck? No, the angels are singing in his ear.
Yeah.
Then years later, I'm sitting in my office and he sends me this thing that he's recorded in his phone. It's when he started to learn how to record the music he's hearing. And he plays it for me. I'm like, oh, you're playing Uncle Moss's music. You remember Uncle Moss? Oh my goodness, I thought you were too young. He goes,
wow.
Who? He says, who? I'm like, Uncle Moss.
Yes.
Moses. Because I said, Zoe's dad. Zoe's dad? So then I played Zoe, like Moss's music, and I played his sound, and the music he was creating sounded like Moss's music. I honestly thought it was music from Moss that I'd not heard yet.
Wait a minute.
It sounded like him.
That's crazy.
And he was not even 13 yet.
Jeez. Did he learn to play the keys?
He was teaching himself. So I bought him a guitar and I bought him one of those keyboards. And so he's been making music since he was a little thing.
And clearly high level music if it sounded
I will share some with
to...
I will share some with
that.
you. I will honestly share some with you.
Does he plan to do anything with it?
He's been doing. So now when I have, like a voiceover audition, or maybe they say, listen, can you record a voice here? And they send it to me. I go into his studio.
Yeah,
he used to be in my office.
Record stuff there.
And he puts me in a booth and he records me. And it's good quality.
Imagine that. You didn't even know this was happening.
You used to be in my belly. Just for control.
That's when mothers take pride. I want to conclude because we can go on forever. I realize. You recorded something where you were 200 years old.
Yeah, Sanlam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you embodied that character so well, like most of the characters you've played in your career.
Thank you.
And I wanted to find out if when you imagine a South African future, what do you see?
Kunzima kanje.
Yeah.
Mama always said, if you ain't got nothing good to say nothing.
Is that your answer? I'm hoping to at least get something.
I am hoping that, and I know I will be crucified in some circles for what I'm about to say. Yeah. I am hoping that we get a strong enough opposition to challenge the governing body. I will not stop being an ANC person. But Mike Tyson without Leon Spinks in the ring is not a champion.
That's true.
Do you understand? You need somebody to challenge you so that you can become more of you.
Yeah.
The ANC is resting on their laurels right now and enjoying the victory of donkeys ages ago and forgetting the fact that all of the things that we were fighting for still need to be fought for.
True.
We fought for not an equality, but equity.
Shares.
Yes.
Yeah.
We fought for the people shall govern. Do you understand? You know, when we were pioneers, and I say pioneers because in the ANC, they were the young ones are pioneers, and then you've got the youth. You can't be part of the youth league before you were a pioneer. And remember, all national groups shall have equal rights. The people shall share in the country's wealth. The land shall be shared among those who work it.
Education shall be free. There is that in the Freedom Charter.
It's in the Freedom Charter and now in our Constitution, but not in the practice.
Yeah.
The land is not shared among those who work it. Farmers are killing black farm laborers.
Yeah.
And farm laborers are dying a dime a dozen, but one farmer should die as a result of a fight between him. If a laborer is being threatened and fights back, when that white drop of blood drops onto the soil, the whole nation arises. We in this country right now, and somebody said, and I read this a couple of days ago, if not, that in North America, and remember I told you that I left North America because I did not want to be other anymore. I wanted to be part of the majority, but I come here and we're still striving to be not to be other.
Even if we are
the majority.
Yes,
and that's because we are not an economic majority. Now, we had a president that was an economic president that was bringing us into that. But he wasn't a populist president. And South Africa wanted a populist president. And we got a populist president. And look at us now.
Ooh. Which one is the Z one?
I ain't going there. You want my dad to turn in his grave? I ain't going there.
We're not going to do that.
I ain't doing that. You ain't going to get that from me.
So our future without a strong opposition is not particularly
We need a strong opposition.
Yeah.
We need, in order for you for your muscles to grow, you need to work them. So if I keep pushing you, and you have to push back, and I keep pushing, you get stronger that way.
Absolutely.
You get strong. We both get strong.
You've been surprised at your own strength.
Yeah, get surprised. So we need that.
Yeah.
As a country.
There's a talk that we are a sitting time bomb.
What do you mean?
Poverty is at a level that's crazy, and yet very little is done about it, and the poor will revolt, and so forth and so forth. We saw it with they call it an insurrection when the Z word went to jail, and people said "Nistralaga" when they looted. Are we on the cusp?
First of all, I think people need to learn that looting does not solve anybody's problem.
No,
it creates problems. But somebody said something that resonated with me recently. You know, I still have a hat that says "From Soweto to Ungovernability."
Hey, that's power right there.
And that was a slogan in the late 90s, "From Soweto to Ungovernability." And we marched that. And because we needed that, we needed ungovernability. We needed the apartheid system to be ungovernable. What we forgot to do was to teach people that, okay, Woga. Now let's build. We did not change gears.
The attitude is still similar.
The only way to get change is ungovernability.
So we're still using the same recipe.
Lesson learned.
Yeah.
So now you've got a problem. When I disagree with you, I destroy your property.
We've done this before and it worked. We're doing it again.
From Soweto to ungovernability. And we'll continue with it.
We haven't unlearned that.
We haven't learned different. So, Diva Nexus, I'm launching Diva Sundays. This is, and I called it Diva's Repartee because I started this a year ago and I thought I was going to launch it on my birthday last year. It is divas getting together and sitting in a round table and talking to each other. Now, a lot of the time, when women get together, they're whinging. I don't want that. I ain't got time for that. What I want is women coming together and saying, hey, how did you succeed? Tell me about it. Because I got problems of my own. But I want to know, when you had this kind of problem, what'd you do? Teach me.
Let's talk about positive.
Let's talk about the
possibilities.
victories. Positive
Possibilities.
I like that. I'm going to steal that.
Go ahead, take it.
Thank you. So here's the thing. With divas repartee, it's divas talking to each other, be it a little D or a big D. Divas repartee, and repartee is just divas talking to each other. We will have a grand diva. That would be somebody like Ria Lidwaba, Basitsana Kumadlo, Wendy Luhabe. Do you understand?
You can go on.
Nkosazana. And it's grand diva coming, and it's divas sitting around in a room talking to each other.
Yes.
No. I want circle tables.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have lunch. Talk amongst yourselves. But I will not have one negative word in the room.
Whoa.
Not a single one. I had this problem and this is how I overcame it.
That's it.
What? Hey, I'm facing that problem. Tell me more.
So every negative must be counteracted with an immediate positive.
I had that problem and this is how I faced it. I had that problem and this is how I faced it. So that when I walk out of there, I have an army of references for my future problems.
Yeah.
Because I will fall in future, but also a vocabulary for things that
are coming. I think you're a star, and I don't know if we see you.
Thank you.
Do you feel seen?
Not often, but I'm okay with that.
It doesn't unsettle you.
It does not unsettle me. Only when I'm not fighting with you and you think I am. That's when it unsettles me.
Yeah.
I was talking to the ladies earlier, and I said, "You speak," because when I speak, they think I'm shouting.
Oh.
When I speak discontent, if I say so, I actually don't like that cake.
So they think that they think it's loud.
And did you hear my voice?
Yeah.
I'm like, I actually don't like that cake. She's like, oh my God, she yelled at me. Oh, did you hear her?
You know, I thought I was the only one that gets this. She knows it. She knows it. But I sometimes even listen to myself. Maybe I'm loud, I'm not aware.
No, trust yourself.
Yeah.
You have not been loud in the whole conversation. Your voice is raised.
It's radio projection.
But you've not been loud.
Yeah.
You've not been yelled. And I think but you cannot take responsibility for somebody else's fear.
That's true. They're dealing with their own issues.
You can only walk away from it. But pointing it out to them will create an adversary out of them.
I'm going to ask a question. I've never done this before, and allow me. Have we learned anything today?
Yes. Simple answer, yes. Can I ask you the same question?
Yeah, of course. I learned from everybody.
Like what?
Maybe we should ask her. What did she learn? Yeah.
I wish I was taking notes now. But a lot of the stuff he's saying, some of the stuff he's saying is in relation to us. And I guess, example, the shouting thing. I'm listening to your response. And it's for me, it's never, and I said it to you too, it's never about how loud you're speaking for me. It's about the tone. So him and I have a tone problem where he says he's speaking in a normal tone, but I'm not receiving it like that. So what I've learned...
No, say it. I know where you're going, but I want you to articulate it.
I don't think I know how.
Okay, let me help you. What you're hearing is a reflection of your fears.
And experience.
No, it's a reflection of your fears. Let me translate it to you. You don't know what he's about to do. You fear what he might do. And as a result, you cringe because of what you are imagining. He may not even have thought of it. All he's thinking is, this is my child, I need to correct her so that she can be better. And you're thinking he's going to kick me out of here.
I've never questioned intention, ever. I've only had an issue with how it's portrayed.
But listen again to what you're saying. How he speaks has got nothing to do with how you feel.
That's true.
What you think has got everything to do with how you feel.
Yeah, I agree with that, yeah.
And that's all her in that
context.
Okay.
So he could be screaming from the top of his lungs, but But if you're not affected by screaming, it's got nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
You could be fast asleep for all you care.
And you're still affected by him.
But if you're fearing that he's asleep and he's going to hear me tiptoeing into the house, and if he hears me tiptoeing into the house, he's going to be upset. I don't want him to be upset. This is all internal work.
Okay.
Do you see how it starts to come back on you? So what you do is about you and who you are. What he does is about him and who he is.
Yeah, okay.
So you can never project his actions on you, and you can never project your actions on him.
It's getting emotional.
I know, it's tough, eh? You know what? What you're feeling is a change in temperature. What you're feeling, and it's very valid. What you're feeling is ownership. And ownership is tough. And that's when I go to the loo and I sit there and I talk to myself.
And say, I need a pause. I need to pause from
now you know where my quiet room is.
I got you. Do you know something that just happened now? And we have to acknowledge it for what it is. That diva nexus is an important part of society. Because I saw it in action.
Ne?
I did.
But she let me.
Yeah.
I'm not effective in your life, Zozo, until you open the door and say, come in, Nambitha. And for that, I need to respect the fact that you let me into your heart. Yeah. And I'm grateful. Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah.
I saw it. We saw Diva and Access in action. Wow, that was amazing.
Thank you.
I thank you for allowing that conversation. I was just asking.
I know, I saw that.
Yeah, because we have a very challenged relationship, and we were once the best of buddies.
No, it's a fear of loss on your part, if I may articulate it. You're fearing that you don't measure up to his expectations. When he expresses disappointment, or when you sense there's a possibility that he might express disappointment, you might even want to hide it from him. And when he finds it, he's going to be disappointed that, okay, fine, now he's caught me. I might lose this opportunity. There is so much that is layered and layered and layered. And you're just thinking, that's my baby.
I need to help
and
her.
I need to help her and I need to correct her.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, oh my God, that's my uncle and he's yelling at me. He's so disappointed at me, he's going to kick me out. And if you take the time and you literally at the end of the day, and I challenge you to do this. I don't know if you've got a notebook at home. You name 3 things that you are grateful for, and you name 3 things that you're proud yourself for. Just 3. Now, if getting up today is one of those things, write it down. If getting a fresh glass for that diva is one of those things, write it down. Nothing's too big and nothing's too small. What you're going to start to see is that you actually are accomplishing far more than you think you are. Once you start writing every one of them down, then you will fear him less, and you'll make yourself proud even more often. But he can never be proud of you until you are proud of yourself, until you acknowledge yourself. Even if he is proud of you, you won't see it and you won't feel it. Sorry. You won't see it
until you see it
until
yourself.
You start telling yourself that this is an accomplishment.
Wow.
My feet touched the ground. Bloody hell. Pardon my French.
Whoa.
Bloody hell. Do you know how depressed I was yesterday? and I actually got up to face another day.
Yeah.
You go deeper. Come on.
Keep
Come
going.
on. Come on. Do you understand? So if you do that, and you've got my number.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
Yep.
I want you to talk to me in 2 weeks. After 14 days, which is 2 weeks, of each day, 3 I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for the fact that I actually expressed myself. I'm grateful for the fact that there was toilet paper when I was crying.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for this bed because I'm so tired.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
It's the little
It does
things.
not have to be anything that will make newspaper headlines, but it will make emotional headlines. So, 3 things. Those 3 things I'm grateful for, and 3 things I am proud of myself for. Okay, look, Diva. Do you see that line right down here? You got that straight. You got that straight. Proud line. Do you understand? I parted my buns like this.
Yeah.
And it's nice and frilly there. And it's nice and straight there. Tick. It does not have to be somebody else's opinion of good. Just yours. And when you've got 2 weeks worth of that, then you and I will have coffee. Is that okay? I bet you're going to be the one to call me like, listen, Diva, it's been 10 days, but I'm ready. I'm like, I am ready. I'm busy. Okay, fine, you buy. Do you understand? It's about you. You may not be able to dictate or determine what your future is or what happens when you get out the door, but what you do about it, that's on you. That's it. I'm done with you.
That's our story. That's our story. Wow. that bit was so important for not only her, for I'm going to put it in the show. No, it is, because it's such an important part of relationships and people seeing themselves. Because when you were talking, I was saying, man, I don't have the smart to express it the way you did. But yet we've had those conversations before, but I could never articulate it the way you just did now.
But that's why there are 2 of us here in this conversation.
That's true.
Do you understand? Maya Angelou said that it's not what they call you, it's what you answer to. That's what matters. So if they're going to say, yo, bitch, and you turn,
you look.
you've acknowledged.
Yeah.
You've acquiesced, you've agreed. But if somebody says, yo, bitch, and you don't turn around, they're going to have to use your name now, won't they?
Because you're not responding to.
But if they go, yo, Diva, and you go, hey. Do you understand?
I got you. Wow. What you've done
it's what you answer to.
Yeah.
So we're launching Diva's repartee,
Okay.
and we talk to divas not about what went wrong in your life. Yes, what went wrong in your life, but how you accomplished, how you were victorious, and what's your formula? What's your way? What are your ways?
Let's learn from
Let's learn from you.
Yeah.
And that's what we are going to do.
I appreciate the time you've given us.
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah. Nambitha, a.k.a. Diva. Mpumlwana.
I'm grateful to you and your team. Your team has been absolutely amazing.
Thank you very much.
Your team has been amazing.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
We appreciate it. Let's carry on with this. You even made my niece cry. Anyway.
No, your niece didn't cry. She expirated.
Yeah.
She released something.
Thank you again, man. You're a rock star. We always finish it with a fist bump.
Fist bump.
With call.
I'm crust.
You're the bottom of
the
bottom of the pap. my shield. Thank you very much.
But that's the best part of the meal.
It is. You have it the following day with eggs.
Oh, I've never done that.
Try it. Morning with eggs.
No,
Nice. You do BC, and well, there's another option. Thank you again. You're a lot of fun. You're so joyous. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Your energy is right. Yeah. Thank you again, man.
King David Studio Podcast.